Can everybody hear me loud and clear? All right, tonight, listen. Hey, D, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me loud and clear, buddy. Okay, cool. All right, got it. Thanks, Tasha. All right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Winner Circle. This is actually our first episode on at 9:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on a Sunday night. But guess what? You guys could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us tonight. And tonight we have a special guest. Okay, she's already been on TMAX Network previously. Just for a short introduction, end up being longer than what we expected, but we wanted to bring her here with us tonight so she can answer questions, so she can get to know some of you guys in the audience and on the panel. But first, I want to bring up my co-host, my homeboy D, awesome one. D, what's going on, buddy? How you doing tonight?
First thing first, if the cursor don't go away, we're a whole lot more better on this side of America. But yeah, man, doing good. I'm blessed. I'm excited. I can't wait to see and hear what all comes from this interaction tonight. And Tasha is somebody to be reckoned with. I know in our community, it tends to rub people wrong when you hear Black and Republican in the same. It's just, that's oil and water. You don't do that. You just don't. You don't be Black and Republican. It's like being mad and wrong
at the same time, right?
At the same time.
But don't you think that all right? In your opinion, is something wrong with that or not, or is it just me?
Oh, yeah.
Like, is that something wrong with that?
Absolutely. I mean, it's. I'm gonna be honest. If you want to hear from me, it's something wrong being Black and Republican. It's something wrong being Black and Democratic. I'm just.
I know that's right.
I just
so hold on. So it sounds like to me you saying the thing that's wrong is being Black.
Nah, being Black is it, but being Black and Republican don't mix. Being Black and Democratic don't mix.
Okay, so D, tell us what do you suggest though?
Oh well, shit. Here's a situation. Formulate a business plan. I mean, once you understand, it's this. Shout out to my mentor Charles Garrett. Told me in 2015. He says, D, the only people who want to feel something are the people who neglect to know something. And that's the truth of the matter. There's a lot of emotions when it comes around uh this time of year. It's, oh,
Mhm.
policy this, policy that. I say, okay, I hear you, but what is that person's policy? Oh, you should know them. Well, wait a minute. If you know it, why can't you just spew it so easily? So you have this emotional attachment. You don't really have a viewpoint that is worth the damn. You just have your emotions, which is fine. You're entitled to that. But here's a situation I want people to understand this quote. Every man is entitled to his opinion, but no man is entitled to be wrong within facts.
Mm. Mm. Say, hold on. Say that one more time and slow it down because you on the road. I like where you're going. I like where you're headed, and you just landed right there. But I need to hear that one more time. Say that again.
Every man has the right to his opinion, but no man has the right to be wrong within facts.
Hmm. So facts trump it all.
All of it.
Facts tell, stories sell.
All day, every day. I mean, America's a business. And I mean, I know people didn't like Obama and he didn't do this, he did do that. Okay, that's fine. Let's concede to that notion. But the question I would ask is, what did you do during that time?
Mm.
Because what he gave was a third grade legislation lesson when he sat up there and said, my people, we have the presidency. Don't worry about that. I need you to go out and vote. Vote locally. Get your local legislators in there so we can get these policies pushed through. He gave you the whole blueprint. What did you do? You didn't show up 2 weeks later. You didn't show up a month later. You showed up 5 years later, talking about, oh, I'm ready to work. I mean, you want that Clinton effect, but you didn't do the Clinton type of process. So again, it don't matter what side of the fence you on. It's the business alignment that you should have to it. All of it. I mean, I hear people say, I made money under this person, I made money on that person. Okay, I can concede to those things because you found the benefit where your policy and their policy had a mutual agreement and birthed the baby. Now, when that doesn't happen, quit going around here screaming, I'm going to vote for this person because they black, or I'm going to vote for this person because they white. But, being out here, Uncle Ruckus. Now, y'all know the good old white skin that man's got over there. He took a bullet because it's strong. I'm like, no, that's no reason to vote for somebody. You know what I mean? Have
So D,
something that,
let me ask you. Let me ask you this. Let me jump in real quick. Let me ask you this. So when Obama got elected, do you feel that majority of the black population went to sleep for 8 years?
hell yeah, absolutely. Not only that, American people went to sleep for 8 years. We were in the middle of a
Mm.
recession. We
Hmm.
were in the middle of a damn recession. They were, yeah, it's time to get up. It
Yeah,
was over.
yeah,
My man left here with a head full of gray hair. You know,
yeah.
the, the kids is in their teens doing stuff, and yet we really barely moved the needle.
Mm.
Even 4 years after that, when you got the next guy in office, where there was it's pettiness, but there's no directness in it. I mean, look at the great decline from the 2012 election to the 2024 election. Hey, you cheated on your wife while having sex with a porn star. And
Yeah.
if it helps the economy, get him about five more holes in there.
Hey, listen, man, real quick, let me go and pop this on the screen. This is the Winner Circle presented by TMAX Network. I am one of your hosts, Mr. TKO, that comes from the boxing community. This is my dude, my bro, D, also one, also known as the Common Sense King, man. D, tonight, this is the interview that let me put some disclaimers out there real quick if we have those that want to pop up on the panel. Listen, if you're over on YouTube, man, click the subscribe button, hit the like button. If you want to pause and hold off on hitting either one of those until you figure out if this is a show that you're going to love to watch in the future, then please, by all means, do so. But hey, listen, if you already rock with us, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like it. All right, the link to join our live panel is pinned in the comments. Tonight we have Miss Tasha Mae, all the way from Seattle, Washington, and this young lady has been making some headline news, at least on our timelines, though, right, D?
Oh yeah.
So she is. I won't tell you a lot about her because I want her to explain herself, tell her background, give us an idea of who she is, where she's coming from with her political views, and I also want her to give the crowd, give the audience a sense of what it feels like to be a black female Republican, let alone a black Republican. Like you said, it's almost blasphemy
Mhm.
to have both of those words in the same sentence. But before we bring Tasha up, now I think she's about ready. But before we bring her up, let's go ahead and play one of the clips that she had out there. I ran across it and I wanted to make sure that the people got a chance to see it here on TMAX Network. So I'm gonna mute out D, go ahead on and mute your mic, and let's go and play this clip real quick.
I'm a black Republican. Of course, I want to restore the party of 1854, anti slavery, and Frederick Douglass. I'm a black Republican. Of course, I want my 9-year-old to learn about reading, writing, and proper history in school and not about relationships and what gender he wants to be. I'm a black Republican. Of course, I would like to pay $2 a gallon for gas and not $5 a gallon for gas. I'm a black Republican. Of course, I actually would like to have a better life, own my own business, and own a home rather than more government handouts, welfare, and food stamps. I'm a black Republican. Of course, I actually want to see real change in our government, not just statues torn down, new holidays, and flags. I'm a black Republican. Of course, I want real prison reform, not the 1994 crime bill that disproportionately incarcerated more black people in the history of America. I'm a black Republican. Of course, I was taught to work hard for every single thing that I have, not sit and wait for the government to do it for me. I'm a black Republican. Of course, I was taught from a young age by my sergeant major grandfather that I'm an American first and then black. I'm a black Republican. Of course, I'm the daughter of a pastor who taught me that in God we trust and one nation under God is putting God first in everything that we do in this country. I'm a black Republican. Of course, I don't want big government in my business, and I actually don't care what lifestyle that you lead or have as long as we're all achieving the American dream. I'm a black Republican. Of course, I've been trying to work hard to get single parents off the welfare system for the last 15 years because I was a single mom of 22 years caught in the cycle of poverty and the benefits cliff, and it needs to stop. I'm a black Republican. Of course, people think I'm an Uncle Tom, a sellout, and a token for my party, when really I've been working in community for almost 20 years and nobody can control what I do. Thank you.
Oh man. Hey, listen. Um, I think that set the stage, D, for us to go ahead on and bring Tasha up, man. She what listen, tonight we both are on the neutral side. We're gonna make sure that this thing runs smooth, no matter what we think, what our views are, and who we are going for in this year's presidential election. We're gonna keep it smooth and easy, but tonight we have this special guest who got some what they say in the black Negro community, some splaining to do. Miss Tasha, can you hear us loud and clear?
Yes, I can hear you. Hello, you guys. Hello to the TMAX community.
All right, man. Hey, listen, Tasha. Thank you for once again coming back over here to T Max. The people got questions. We hope you got answers, which we know you do. But I want you to go ahead and tell our audience who you are, where you coming from, and then I'll start. Me and D will bounce some questions back and forth between them.
Yeah, hi. Well, you guys, as you can see, my name is Tasha Mae. I'm from Seattle, Washington, born and raised in Washington State, ironically, which is one of the most liberal, extreme, unchurched states in America. How did I even end up there? Well, my family is not from there. They're from the South, but they came up there due to military, due to Boeing. And so that's where I was raised at. But I am the granddaughter of a sergeant major who chose to vote for John McCain over President Obama, although he never thought he would live to see, as he says, a Negro president. He passed away at the age of 91. And then I'm also the daughter of a pastor, and as well as a former politician, or aspiring politician, rather, my mother. And, I was raised on conservative values. I was raised on family first. I was raised on country first. I was raised on pulling yourself by your own bootstraps, work for what you want, all those principles. And just by default, those things align with those of the conservative party. So those are the principles I was raised under. I never aspired to be on welfare forever and hand down my Section 8 voucher as if it was some type of a life insurance policy. I never had aspirations of asking for anything. I plan to work for everything. And so those principles that are guiding life, as well as spiritual principles, I know they try to separate church and state, but unfortunately, we are founded on "In God We Trust" and one nation under God. And so I think some of us in this country realize that there's probably an entity that's higher than us. And so I'm very for that as well. And having that upbringing, having that understanding of hard work is the only way you get something, understanding that me as a parent is supposed to be the primary influencer in my child's life, not a school system teaching them, hey, you can be a boy, you can be a girl. No, teaching them reading, writing, and arithmetic so we can actually pass these exams to be excel. Those are the principles that I come from. And I'm not even going to say unfortunately, but those particular things align with conservative values. And that's what I know. And I still believe in that, even as a 43-year-old woman. So here I am. I'm excited to answer any questions. I will just say this, you guys, if you're engaged, first of all, if you are a registered voter, I will have any conversation with you. If you are not, and you're just exerting your opinion based on what you heard in the random newspaper, I probably won't talk to you. But if you are a registered voter and you actually vote and you care about what happens to your family in the next 4 years, then I have so much respect for you. I will listen to anything that you say. I will answer according to my own personal convictions and encourage you to make decisions based on yours.
All right, look, man, you said a mouthful, and you gave the people a good backdrop of who you are, where you come from, and some of your ideology about how Democrats roll, how Republicans roll. Because Underground Road says, "Laugh out loud," lots of sarcasm, right? In that video that we just watched. So, with that being said, you mentioned something in your statement just a second ago where you were talking about not trading in your food stamp card for what?
No, I said a Section 8 treat, not passing down a Section 8 voucher like it's a life insurance policy, is what I said.
Yes, not passing down a Section 8 voucher like it's a life insurance policy. So here's one of the questions that I have that I asked a lot of people, and I want to get your opinion on it. Why do I don't know if you've caught this vibe from people just talking in general. The minute that individuals start thinking about Democrat or Republican, so if I ask like black people about Republican, the first thing they'll say is rich and white. So
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
the first thing they would say is rich and white. That's what they think of when they think Republican. So this is just my experience. So when I hear someone say, "Oh man, it's rich white people," I have to ask them. So basically, what you're saying is Democrats poor blacks or others. Wouldn't you think that that would be something in comparison to contrast what they're speaking about Republicans being rich and white? Then they automatically default uh, think that Democrat meaning struggling, poor, behind, but definitely other of color and black.
Well, the first thing I would encourage them to do is actually do their research. And, it is public knowledge, actually public disclosure. You can find out how many black people are registered Republicans and how many white people are registered Republicans and what the average income is of those people. But usually people are a little too mentally lazy to actually do that. So they'd rather just go with what they think based on their own limited experience. And so I try to not do that. I try to actually do my own research. And actually, blacks that are ages 50 and above, most of them are originally registered Republicans because the Republican Party was founded off of anti-slavery. It is the party of Frederick Douglass. It is a party that was literally formed for black people. Literally, it was formed to make sure that we stayed free. Now, just like music, it's gone astray, right? I would have to say that Meg Thee Stallion doesn't properly represent R&B like Aretha Franklin did, but R&B was still powerful nonetheless. And so with that being said, I think it's very important that we do our research, if you actually want to know what percentage of Black people are registered Republicans. Now, it doesn't mean that they necessarily vote Republican all the time, but they are originally registered Republicans. You would actually be very surprised those numbers are. And you'd be surprised at how many, just me in my own state. Now, Black Americans in Washington state make up 4% of the population, okay? Washington is very mainly Asian and white, and then a lot of Mexicans are coming. And so we're only 4%. That's 400,000 people. And then of that, are 200,000 are registered. And of that, like 78,000 even vote, okay? So it would be easy to say that it's just a bunch of rich white people. Well, it depends on where you're at. It depends on demographics. There's so many details. That's why I always encourage people to research and read and maybe find out. It's public disclosure. Like, you guys can look up my name and find out how I voted for the last several elections since I was 18. You can find out what party they're a part of, but people don't necessarily want to do that. So I would actually first caution them on their facts rather than their assumptions based on their own limited experience.
Okay, so you've been a Republican all your whole life. Tell us a little bit. I know you a lot of people think that you just recently switched or maybe came on the Republican train since Donald Trump has been either president or going up for a re-election. But explain that a little bit. How long have you been a registered Republican, and does it run far deeper than yourself?
Yeah, so let's see, I turned 18 in 1999. So I think that is roughly, I don't know how many years. I can't do math right now, you guys. I want to say 25 or 24 years. So there's that. I've been also the Black part. I've been that since birth. So I guess I don't really have an explanation for that. My parents were Black and I came out Black. So there's that.
Hey, man, I love it.
I'm just saying, people are like, how does it feel to be a Black female Republican? I'm like, well, I've been Black my whole life and I've been a female my whole life. So that was easy. But as far as I was class president in 6th grade. So I always understood that political or positions of power, decision-making power, were going to influence how my school experience was. So I wanted to be a part of that. I didn't like the fact that other people were making decisions for how I got to go to school and what my recess times were and what type of chicken nuggets we had. I didn't like that. So this is kind of inside of me from a very young age. I did become a single mom my freshman year of college. And so I focused on that for many years. So now that my kids are basically adults, I have the freedom to be a lot more active. So that might be why people perceive it's new. But as far as my upbringing and understanding, and I don't know if you have the photos you're going to show, but my father, who passed away, he was a pastor. He was actually drafted to the NBA in the 70s. He was a community leader. He had 4,000 people at his memorial service. He was a huge pillar in the community here in Washington State, a bridger between Blacks and whites. He was a powerful person, which I am honored to carry his legacy on, but he also was a spiritual advisor to many conservative candidates. Even some of the President Bush, he was flown to DC to pray for National Days of Prayer. So I have that background. I have that understanding. And his main reason was just the connection that the conservatives have to their belief in God for him, as well as family first, as well as family being a part of children's lives, as well as preserving. I'll be honest, my father, of course, I don't know how he would handle it nowadays, but he was a big part of the marriage movement of preserving it between a man and a woman. So it's so funny. I'll tell you this, you're going to love this. People here in Washington State, are so anti this, but they were like on my dad's heels and they loved him and they went to everything, but he was literally advocating to keep marriage between a man and a woman. And so now fast forwarding 15 years later, it's like those same pastors, those same fans are like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. Right. So, but I haven't changed my foundation. And I don't mean that specifically. That's not for me to say or judge. But as far as my conservative values are concerned, and I matter of fact, I just wrote a letter. So I do have a 9-year-old. I share custody, so it's not as strenuous as a single mom situation. And I just wrote a email to his new school and said, like I do this every year, I need to know exactly the name of the courses where you plan to teach my son that he can be a boy or a girl, about relationships, about Jack and Jill and Jill. I want to make sure he knows math. I want to make sure he knows reading, writing, and accurate history. So I want to know, because you guys have hidden them in science, you've hidden it in health, and I want to know what it is. And you need to tell me, because I have a right as a parent to waive him from those things. And they don't know what to do with that. But that's the type of things I have to do, because I will teach my son. Church will teach my son. Life will teach my son. I don't need you to indoctrinate my son. So again, those are foundational things. And I think all parents that are active in their kids' lives want to be able to teach their kids or allow them to learn things through culture in the home and not be indoctrinated into it through, different liberal policies and such.
Yeah, of course, of course. And before we get too far away from those pictures that you was talking about your grandfather, is this one of them here? Is this what we're
So
looking at?
that's my father, my dad. So my dad is there with a King County councilwoman. So King County in Washington State is the most populated county in Washington State. It's the most controversial. If you're looking at the national election, you would talk about a swing state. Well, King County is like a swing county. So it's like the county you want to win. She was one of the few Republican King County councilwomen in the history of Washington State. And then you see me over there roughly, I don't know, 16 years later, standing next to the same woman as my father at a King County Republican Party event. So again, just carrying out that legacy and just showcasing where I come from.
Man, so she's still currently in King County doing her thing on blazing the trail all these years later.
Well, she's not active on the council anymore. I mean, I think she has a certain term that expired, but she's still very active in the party. She's a mentor of mine.
Yeah.
She's a person that I consider very close and wise, and so did my father.
Yeah, so that's what I meant when I said blazing the trail, because there's a lot of people who dip into certain political spaces for the amount of time that they can actually hold a seat. And then as soon as their time is up, they go back into the background and you never really see or hear from them again. Um, until it's time to endorse somebody, then they pop up on the telephone and go, Kamala. All right. So, hey, listen, man, I want to put this out there right now. We're going to bring up the awesome one real quick. I'm going to read a few of the comments that's been down here waiting for us to address. Somebody said, laugh out loud. We already put that. Lots of sarcasm. Somebody said, fantastic. Underground roads. Said, fantastic. The awesome one said, let's talk about it. He also said, if you want to ask any questions, you can click the link. The description is the link is pinned in the comments on YouTube. You can come on over from Facebook as well. Just tap that link, take you over to YouTube, and you'll see the link to come up and ask Tasha a question if you have any. Let me see who else we got here. Miss Tillian Lala. Is that what it say? Okay. Tillian Lala. All right.
Hailing from Seattle.
She hailed from Seattle as well. She said, hey, Miss Tasha Mae. We got some more addresses coming from the awesome one telling everybody to click the link. She also said, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God. I know that's right. Let me see. She says as well, to the republic, one nation under God. Get any more? All right, so this looks like it. So underground road said basically it's from one generation to another, passed down. So it makes sense, but makes sense by her upbringing. Yep. So she was born into.
I want to speak to that really quickly. Underground, thank you for saying that, because we are all products of our environment. So if I'm fair, I want to speak to the fact that my dad has 8 siblings. He's the oldest of 9. And he was 6'9", so he was discovered. He got a basketball scholarship. He was able to go to college and basically get out of the very challenging circumstances he was in. And so he was being raised in the hilltop of Tacoma, which is, I guess, our version of the hood. I've heard people come here from other states and laugh at our version of the hood. So I'm just going to say our version of the hood. And they struggled, and he had cardboard in his shoes to play basketball and all kinds of things. And had he not had the access to education and a collegiate opportunity, he wouldn't have broken the generational curse and then met my mother, who was born of a military sergeant. And then they came together and they decided they wanted just the private schools. They wanted to make sure that we had the best. So therefore, I'm a product of that. But it's a little bit of a different story. Some of them, because they were still in that environment and they only knew what they knew, their lives turned out differently. My cousins turned out differently. They were some of them were in and out of foster care and things of that nature. So the way they see the world is differently. So I think it's really important that people understand that we are shaped by our upbringing. That's why it's so important that parents are able to be active in their kids' lives and active in their education. And so I'm grateful that my dad was a generational curse breaker. I'm grateful that he was 6'9" and someone discovered him, or who knows what I would have been. Who knows what I would have turned to. And I know to work for what I want and not rely on public assistance. But if you were raised otherwise, you don't know what you don't know. So I just wanted to speak to that, sir. And thank you for sharing that, because I will never look down on anybody, because I know that if my dad was a pimp or my mom was a prostitute or my dad was in prison all my life, I would have turned out way differently. So I will always have grace, and no disrespect to Ms. Owens, but that is why I'm not a fan of Candace Owens, although she speaks a lot of truth, that she talks down to our people. And it's like, you have to put things in context. You have to understand people's upbringings and backgrounds, and that is something I'm not.
Hold on. I gotta
Yes,
stop you
I
there,
went there.
Tasha, I gotta stop you there because I love Candace Owens. I just want to put that on the record. And
I
secondly,
love her too, but I
okay,
don't love
well,
how
wait a
she
minute.
puts down
You
our
had
people.
your
That's all I'm gonna say.
cool.
You don't gotta put people down in the process to speak truth. Speak the
Okay.
truth and love. She's factual. I retweet her stuff all the time. But when in the beginning, when she was putting us down and calling us ignorant and calling us this and that, you only know what you know. And my
Okay, so hold on. Wait a minute, because I got a little smoke to that, and it's with love and respect. But majority of the people that got a problem with Donald J. Trump says that he might speak truth, but the message is missed between the
Yeah, but I'm not
attitude and
comparing.
Let me put these words in here. I'm comparing because you put a label or a stain on Candace
No,
yourself,
not at all. I said she
saying
speaks the
that.
truth.
Wait a second, saying that.
Now she's changed though. She said she wants to see black men in the homes now, and she's changed. But when she first came out, she was talking very negatively about black people, and she was like me. She was born privileged in the sense of she had opportunity and she didn't see the things that a lot of black and brown people see. I have literally. So with that being said, I was saying I love her truth. I love that she wants us off the plantation. I love that she wants us to think of common sense. But you don't have to put people down in the process. That's all I'm saying. Other than that, I like her. I respect her. Other than that, I like her.
So listen,
You don't got
Tasha.
to put people down. You don't have to put people down to make a point. That's all I'm saying.
All right, hold on. I got to mute you real quick. So what I'm gonna go ahead on and say is, like I was saying, the number one thing that most people that have a problem with Donald Trump is not what he say, it's how he says it. And I think that one of the biggest problems with our people, I muted you, Tasha. I see your lips moving, but I can't hear nothing that you're saying just now because I want to get this message out. All right. I think the biggest thing, one of the biggest problems to finding solutions in our community is that our emotions is so far ahead of the real problems and issues that we need to find solutions for. And a lot of times our people get tore up by how somebody say something, what they said. You said that she was talking down to black people, but I would say, or you said she would say a lot of negative things. Could it be, or may it have been that she was speaking the negative sides of our community, which sounds like it's being targeted to be disrespectful or flat out doggone disrespect, I would say. Could it be that she was just highlighting the negative side to our community versus the fact that she was telling us, she was just, here's something that I personally have a problem with, me myself. So a lot of people get mad about how I say certain things, right? And I could care less. Here's the thing about me. If I feel like it's the truth and like some people like to say quote unquote my truth, then I'm gonna just say it. How you take it and how you respond to it, that is not a me issue, that is a you issue. And I think that Candace feels the same way. I'm not representing her or taking up her. I just say that I want to put that comparison to. You made a statement saying that a lot of folks think that she speaks negative or talks down about black people, which she still tells a lot of truth in your own words. But they have that same smoke for Donald Trump. Your reply.
Well, to have permission to speak because you used your administrative authority to mute me in a free forum. So I just want to make sure I can speak.
All right. So let me tell you this. You are free to speak. And
Okay.
then
Thank you so much.
That's
Thank
what
you
I'm
so
talking
much.
about.
I mean, I have under the Constitution, I have a right to, but on your show, I get muted. So what I wanted to express is this, is that again, the intent and the impact, unfortunately, the impact resonates more. So you could have not meant to punch me in the eye and create a black eye, but it doesn't matter. Nonetheless, I'm looking at one forever. And so, of course, the impact of how someone communicates resonates longer, which is why it's negatively impacting Mr. Trump. So the completely irrelevant comparison to a person running for president and a person that is a correspondent and a talk show host, to me, I felt like was necessary. But what I'm saying again is that in her beginning times, back in 2020, 2018, she literally was attacking, and she has actually recanted some of those statements. She's actually apologized for the way that she said some of those things. And even recently, she has gone on a point to say how important Black men are in the home, instead of saying you guys are out there sagging your pants, being hoodlums and not being in the home. That's what she said the first time. And then 4 years later, now it's we need Black men in the home. So what I'm saying though is that she's changed her approach, but her first statements, and I apologize, I could definitely find you the receipts and send them to you later, because I'm using the device that I would look those up on. But in the beginning, she was saying like Black men are out there too busy trying to be thugs and athletes instead of being fathers. Now she's actually addressing the fact that there is a system that was in place democratically to take Black men out of their homes, and that we need Black men. So I appreciate her stance now. What I was speaking to, not even just the how, but the what. And so again, when you want people to elevate, so one of the things that I do, like I work, shockingly enough, I'm actually working with an NAACP, which is a historically very liberal Black organization. But you know why they're willing to work with me, knowing that I am a Republican, knowing I'm a conservative, is because I don't do that. Because I recognize the things, right, that historically do impact us, but I'm not willing to let them operate as victims. I show pathways to self-sufficiency, pathways to get off the Democratic plantation, the system, pathways to being contributors to society rather than benefactors from what you actually think is owed to you under welfare systems and others. And so I think there is, and maybe that's just me, my spiritual background, maybe that's my dad coming out of me, because he definitely was more of a bridger than a divider. And so for me, I'm like, growing up, I had some people in my life that thought tearing me down would actually make me better. And it didn't. It made me more depressed. It made me stay perpetuated. But when people started speaking life into me and what I could be, and started speaking into me and saying, Tasha, yes, you're a single mom. Yes, you're Black. Yes, you're maybe bigger, but you can still do this, this, and this. I actually started operating that. And death and life is in the power of the tongue. So I'm not saying that Mr. Trump doesn't say things he shouldn't say and all that. This is not about him. I was only speaking to her because I appreciate the platform she has, and she has so much access and she has so much influence. I just didn't like when she was doing it. She's not doing it now. When she was literally negatively stereotyping and criticizing Black people to make her point, whereas now she's actually acknowledging the fact that there are democratic systems in place that have intentionally taken Black men out of the homes, that intentionally tried to make us dumb and put us in a box of athletes and dancers instead of the creators that we are, the inventors that we are. And so I really appreciate about that transition. And she's actually even recanted some of those, and even, I wouldn't say apologized, but just shifted how she approaches those issues.
Okay, well, listen, man, I use my administrative rights on myself because I like for someone to get their whole point out before somebody chimes in. Yeah, we can go in a conversation back and forth, but I wanted you to make it clear of what you meant before I said anything. So I got that same smoke for myself to be very kind and keen and listen to everything you say. And something that you said stood out to me. But before that, let's get to Miss Carrie Rock. Miss Carrie Rock said, so why did your grandfather choose to be a Republican? If you know, you can answer that.
Well, again, when President Obama was elected, he was 91 years old. So that means that, he was around back when Blacks were Republicans. Okay, so it wasn't until the late 1940s that we were tricked by the Democrats by giving us an idea of power by allowing us to weigh in on legislation that we actually went Black turned blue. So back when he was an adult, actually Blacks were Republicans. The first Blacks to settle in Washington state were Republicans. The first Black legislators and political figures were Republicans. So he was at the age where that's what we were actually doing.
Okay. Hey, like she said a while ago, it makes sense for your upbringing. It makes sense for the time period that your grandfather was living in when that happened. Because like I tell people all the time, if you was born in a certain side of this world, you would not be a Christian. You definitely would be a Muslim or a Jew or a Hindu or something like that. So it's all about location, and timing of what's going on, what's taking place in the world at that time. So there's another hold on. Carrie Rock said, "What made the switch?" Carrie, you know what she's talking when she said, "What made the
Oh,
switch?"
I think she's talking about when I said when black turned blue. So, President Roosevelt, I think it was like late 40s. This is after the Great Depression, and everyone was out of jobs and all of that. And this is, again, back. I mean, blacks have always been kind of like that thing for any type of politician to win. And so, what he did, he was the first presidential individual to start giving promises to the black community specifically. And so he actually offered spots at the table to help with legislation, not give jobs, not give actual decision-making power, but to actually weigh in on things that would impact the black community, such as promising jobs after the Depression and promising. So this is where the blue side of promises that are not delivered, which Malcolm X speaks to very candidly, start happening. And so because we have been so marginalized, we have been so pushed down, we were just thrilled to have a seat at the table. Even if it was fake, we were happy to be there. And so that is the beginning of when black turned blue. And that continues to be a thing. I mean, in Washington State, I'll speak to my own state, where when George Floyd and all the protests and stuff were happening, my governor took his executive power to appoint all of these completely I would say, not qualified black people into positions so he could look like he was being diverse and that he was doing this just to get people out of the streets, just to calm the civil unrest. And just so you know, the majority of those appointees have been slowly and quietly fired. And now he's getting ready. He's been in office for, I think, 8 years now. He's getting ready to go out. And maybe only a few of those people are even still working for the governor. So again, that is something, a tactic that has been done for since the 1940s, and we continue to fall for it. Like right now, they're doing prison reform on the prison legislature they put in place. You guys are the ones that did the 1994 crime bill. Now you're doing prison reform on what you actually did. So that's what they do towards the end of an election. They start appointing people. They start putting brown people up. They start doing all these things that they think are going to make black people happy, like tearing down statues. What law does that change? Burning flags. What does that change? Nothing. But we believe it. We think something's changing, and they play off of that, and they've been doing that since the 1940s, actually 1948 to be exact.
Okay. Hey, well, listen, we're gonna go and turn this thing up a little bit. We're gonna the floor is now open for any questions outside of the comments that you guys are putting over on YouTube. I can't right now. I can't see the comments that are over on Facebook. It's not popping in on my side. But what I can say is this: if you're on Facebook and you do want your comments read on the screen, go over to the YouTube channel. Just click the link that you're watching us on right now. It'll take you over to the YouTube channel. When you get over there to the YouTube channel, you'll see the link to join the live discussion and ask Tasha a question live on the panel. So with that being said, I'm gonna bring up my man D, also one that's been waiting in the background. D, before you unmute and join the conversation, what I do want to do is play this short clip so we all three can talk about it. I hope somebody pulls up that has some questions that represents the other side, because like I said tonight, D and I are going to remain as neutral as possible, but we're going to be fair as well. So there's not going to be a lot of smoke for one side or the other. There's no attitudes and personal attacks and things like that, disrespectful comments made towards the host, the co-host, the guest, or anybody that pop up on the panel. So let's just keep it G and get some conversations started that need to be started and had in our community. Carrie Rock said, so like Ferguson says, I will Dick's crime. What? Okay. You must know what that means, Tasha. What's she talking about?
Woo, that's hilarious. So I think what I'm reading into that. So Ferguson is our current attorney general. He is running for governor. He's supposed to be kind of get a shoe-in from our current governor to win, and he is of course a Democrat. And so she's kind of saying like, what I understand you're saying, Carrie, is that like how he's promising, basically false promising that he's going to end crime when he has been the proponent and the enablement of it since he's been attorney general. And that's again what we're talking about. So now he knows that Washington State is number 4 in the country for crime, and all of a sudden he wants to talk about being hard on crime. Well, we already know that's not even a Democratic agenda. Like Democrats, and since the 1994 crime bill, have actually been very enabling about crime and enabling about extent, sentences and leniency. So what she's, I think, playing to, if I believe, and Carrie, please re-comment if I'm wrong, but I think she's speaking to how he's placating to the people who are upset about all the crime that's rampant in Washington state. And now all of a sudden he's saying he's going to solve it, when as Attorney General, he has actually done nothing about it and enabled it in his tenure.
Okay, so that Ferguson part was something out there in Washington that D and I, well, I know, I thought you were talking about the place, Ferguson, the actual city.
But
So
it's relevant though, because we all have smooth talking politicians, whatever side it is, that switch up what they're doing just to get the votes. And so that's what she's speaking to, I believe, unless she comments otherwise, because that's just what's been the trend, like whatever people need to hear. And what's sad to me is that means that you actually know that we need to do things this way, but you're pretending to. So then what does that mean about that person?
Okay, so she said you're 100% right, and she said survivor of crime here. Okay, too easy. All right, well look, D, we're gonna go ahead on and share our screen real quick, man. We're gonna pop up a clip. Now this, Tasha, this clip I'm about to share, uh, has went viral. We're gonna take some heat off you for right now because this young lady brought it all on her own, and she was just speaking to some of the truth that I like to talk about, and I've heard you say on some of your videos. But this lady here goes off. She was under a federal indictment or investigation herself because of protesting out in front of a federal building about abortion and things of that nature when it comes to black babies. But let me go ahead on and share my screen real quick and see can I get this pulled up. Right here we go. Let's go ahead on and talk about it.
So you're doomed. Kamala Harris can't win, and she already said she's not going to do anything for black people. Yep. So if you want me to do something for black people specifically, no, that's what she said. So she's not the candidate for us. For one, she's not even considered black. And for two, she don't have the best interest for us anyway. Neither does these candidates do. The only person I could say that probably would be a good choice is RFK. But other than that, no, it's not going to work.
Can't say that I agree with this brother. I can't in reference to RFK, just due to the fact of what my beliefs are. And I don't necessarily believe in the platform of an RFK. I do agree with him when it comes to Kamala Harris. She can't win. Her policies are terrible. Her history in the Senate and definitely her history as AG out in California, terrible. She can't stand up to what she's done. She just can't. This sister I'm about to pull up, she goes in. So I'm just going to ask you guys to sit back and enjoy the show. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Let's get it.
Know that Kamala is a token? Do you know that nobody wanted to endorse her? Not even Obama wanted to endorse her because she's incompetent. Nobody wanted her in the position, but they did it because she was black. That's an insult.
It is.
That means you're not intelligent enough. That means you're not quick enough. That means you're not smart enough. That means you're not even equipped. You're just black. And it works. And I know that I have been laying low politically because, again, I've been indicted. Understand something. I've been indicted by the Biden administration.
Okay, so she has been indicted by the Biden administration, which on that ticket comes along with Kamala Harris. And this is what I talk about. So you can't escape the record. You can't escape the history. People talk right now like Kamala Harris is not currently the sitting vice president, as if we can't currently see what's going on. So Tasha, I want you to speak to that part. And D, I'm going to ask you a question right now. As you go ahead and unmute your mic, I'm going to bring you up and ask you a question. D, do you think people are voting for Kamala like they said that we did for Barack Obama, simply because she's black? What do you say?
Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to neutralize any assumptions here. Now, I am big on history. And I will admit that I knowingly I knowingly voted against my beliefs just to be a part of history. So President Obama's first run, I actually voted for him merely so I could tell my grandchildren that I voted for the first Black president. And I'm going to tell you, like, I'm going to own it. All of my Republican constituents know this. Anyone else knows this. And that's exactly the only reason why I knew how liberal he was. I knew how extreme he was because I read his books. I did my research. But I wanted to be able to say that I voted it as a part of history. That's that. Am I going to do that again? Absolutely not. And so for a party that leverages racism so much for me to be criticized as a Black person, let's just leave out the woman part, that I'm not voting for her and I should because she's Black is racist. Because I remember very distinctly a man that we all named streets and holidays after saying that racism, that we should not be judged by the color of our skin, but the content of our character. So if you're telling me that I should vote for someone merely because I'm Black and she's Black, that means you're telling me to be racist knowingly. And then second, for me to vote for her because she's a woman and because I happen to have a biological vagina and she has a biological vagina, at least to our knowledge, then that means that I'm supposed to vote for her as well, which now makes me sexist. So it's very confusing for me when people expect me to vote for a person merely because we have the same gender and the same skin color, which supposedly is actually the definition of sexism and racism. So I think this is, what she's saying, I'm sorry that she's being indicted, but I'm not surprised because at the end of the day, that's what it is. And so that's why I was actually very happy, this is going to sound strange, that Mr. Trump did not pick like a Black running mate because the last thing I needed was for him to continue to fulfill, oh no, now he picked a Black one, great. Now they're going to think he's doing it for this reason. And so I appreciated that was not done probably for the first time really in history to placate. And that was great. But anyway, those are my thoughts on that.
Okay, well, I'm glad you said that. Hold that thought about Trump not picking a Black running mate because we're going to talk about here in just a second, as soon as D addressed the question. But we're going to talk about who you think Kamala will pick as her running mate, unless she just came out with it here recently. I don't think she's picked anyone just yet. But let's talk about that here in a second. D, unmute your mic, man. Do you think Black people are voting for Kamala Harris just because she's Black, like they said that we did the first time or the second time with President Barack Obama? Do you think that that's the case in this instance? A lot of people want to make history and say that they voted for the first, not only female president, but first Black female president. Go ahead, D.
Here's the thing. Not only Black people voted for Barack Obama because he was Black, white people voted for Barack Obama because he's Black. Women are going to vote for her because she's a woman. And Black women are going to vote for her because she's a Black woman. And Black men are going to vote for her because she's a woman. And white men are going to vote for her because she's a woman. At the end of the day, regardless of where you stand, again, I stand on my principles and my morals. You don't have no assignment of self and expected somebody else to have the assignment for you. So I look at these people and I understand business. Not all good business is good business. This is strictly just good business for Kamala Harris and her friends and her family. Now, you remember that time we had that talk on the phone? It was about the Constitution. About the fucking Constitution.
I absolutely do.
And you said something that day. And it's the same principle to this day. If me and Al open up a business, y'all, it ain't about y'all. It's about us and what's coming from us. However, it's about you buying from us or doing business with us. But it ain't about you. It's about us. Yeah. We want to go ice fishing just to say we did it and be back 12 hours later so we can say we're going to Cancun. Then leave from there to go to the black sand beaches. It ain't about you. Oh, no. It's about us. The Waltons ain't running Walmarts around here about you. They think about their family. They big ass wealthy family. Johnson & Johnson ain't making lotion and baby powder for you. They thinking about their family. You You think these people sitting up here giving you these good old feel good? I'm going to cut taxes and get new jobs and pave roads. It ain't about you. They speaking for them. That because where they live at, the jobs are going to be plentiful. Where they live at, the streets are going to be smoothed. Where they live at, the taxes are going to be cut. And hear me out. This ain't a red or blue thing. It's a up that thing. And like I say, you got to get what you're going to get in this nation. America is a business. Step to her the correct way. Pull out your scroll and say, pop. You see here, right here on line 75, subsection A, first paragraph. I need this done. And you need to put pressure on the person in my area if you want this here fancy ass vote. Because if not, this fancy ass vote gonna go over here to this side because I hold no allegiance to you either. Because that's how business run. You think that if America don't get to do business with China, but you got a bunch of people in Brazil, you say, we can make it happen. Oh, it's done. Oh, it's done. So it's the same principle when it comes down to my vote. I don't care if you're a Republican, a Democrat, or independent. Bitch, what you gonna do for me?
Facts, man. Go ahead, Tasha.
Well, I want to say that I love that. I love that. And it was put in a very more down-to-earth, relatable way than I could. And of course, that's what, you men are very good at, putting things in ways that people need to understand them. And so what I wanted to share, though, is that's kind of my whole thing. Is like, I need you to read and research. And I vote based on who I believe is going to be the best fit for what I want to see for my family in the next 4 years. And whoever that happens to be, it is. Now, I can say, like I said in my video you guys played before I came on, that opportunities for business ownership, home ownership, making day-to-day cost of living less for me is unfortunately leans more under certain types of leadership. Therefore, that is the way that I vote, right? So, for example, if you go to a certain grocery store and the food is always rotten there, and then you go to another grocery store and the food is always fresh there, well, by default, you're going to go to the grocery store that's fresh. Not that you're trying to discriminate against the other grocery store, but I don't feel like getting sick and eating moldy food. And so I think I want to just take this moment. I love what you said, to encourage people to read, research, compare what you want for your family, you and yours, and who checks more boxes. Because honestly, ultimately, especially as Black Americans, as Malcolm X said, neither side actually really cares about us. There's just one that's maybe checks a little more boxes than the other. Okay, so that I'm going to say this. I've said this bluntly. I've said it to my even GOP constituents. I'm not stupid. I'm not a bobblehead. I'm not a talking head. I'm not in denial. Okay, I don't think Republicans love me. I don't think any of that. I don't think Democrats love me. But what I do understand is that fundamentally and principally, what I want to see from me and my family is I don't want more handouts. I want to be independent and live my own life and actually live what they call the American dream for me. That's what I want to do. So whoever's policies look like, or at least in writing show that they would propel me towards that, that's the way I vote. Period. Point blank. Mm-hmm. If I find that your policies are going to lead me away from that and make me more codependent on you as the government and make me need you more as the government because I supposedly can't think for myself, well, I'm going to veer away from that. So again, I'm just echoing in a different way that basically, like you said, make a choice for you and your family, but do your research. Don't let Chucks and Pearls or a toupee and orange skin be the reason why you make a choice.
Yeah, that is ridiculous. Miss T. Lynn Lala said that is so ignorant to vote not on qualifications, but on someone looking like you. Facts.
I mean, it is, but this is what's been going on forever.
Years.
Yeah, people do it.
It's been going on from ever. You don't you beg for the truth. You don't want to know it. And it's the same thing with your favorite politician. You don't want to know the real truth. That's why you'll lie to yourself before they can ever do it. So I can't even blame them.
Okay.
I can't even blame them. You'll lie to yourself when you go to the poll. Oh, this guy is such a good guy. He's so this or she's so that. And they ain't tell you that. You will lie to yourself. Mm-hmm. So when you get the results from your own self lies, well, whoop your own self ass at the end of the 4-year period that you didn't get what you want out of it.
But, yep, absolutely right, man. Let's go and jump back into the video. Let this young lady get her piece out there. Let me see. Oh,
Wait, who is this lady? Because I just ran across this video out here on the internet, but I didn't catch her name. And what has she being indicted for? Oh man,
Black woman for standing against the murder of innocent children, including and especially because they take up the biggest margin, Black babies. Okay, so now Biden has stepped down, right? And I have been laying low. I've been like, listen, I'm not saying nothing. I'ma just live my life. I'm in Vegas. I'm about to go to the buffet. I'm just trying to eat. I'm trying to be at Sphere. And I'm trying to be at Flyover Vegas, enjoying my little life with my husband before sentencing. But I have to say something. Let me explain something to you. And I'm speaking to the Black community. I have to. I'm speaking to the Black community, and I'm going to keep it a buck. If you, in your heart, feel like, oh, they're going to put up Kamala, I'm going to vote for Kamala, you are telling me how ignorant you are when it comes to politics, not as a person, because just because you are ignorant according to politics doesn't mean you're an ignorant person, but you are very ignorant according to politics. And
I would agree with that. Ignorant just means that you don't know. We don't say that to denigrate you guys. It just means that you just don't know.
Tell you why. And a lot of people can get offended, but I don't care. I'm going to be honest with you. Okay. Kamala, number one, has never been for the Black community. I want you to understand something. Kamala has played a part, just like Joe Biden, in persecuting and putting African-American people in jail by the droves. Droves.
That's why she's in.
all right, cool. So with that part, any one of you guys want to address what she just now said at the end?
Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead,
I mean, but about it is, all of them have. And now they got your black ass. It's just that simple. Why do we not understand this?
Hold on, wait a minute. Say that one more time. All of them have, now they got what?
All of them have, and now they got your black ass.
What do you mean by that?
She on the way to jail, ain't she?
Hey, indictments come down.
Again, this is the thing. Prison is not just a place, right? And again, good business ain't always good business. So that means if I'm a drug dealer and I'm in Detroit and I'm making $5 million a week, that's good business for me. It ain't good business for you, but it's good business for the hospitals. It's good business for the police. It's good business for everybody. Good business ain't always good business. It's about profits and losses. The prison is good business. So how do you hold this business and keep the funnel open by any means necessary? You play the game of, hey, listen, I'm obeying the laws. I learned the laws, and this is how they get you. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. Why is the ignorance of the law is no excuse, D? Because everywhere, for the most part, there's a legal library that you all can walk your asses into, and it's open to the public 24/7. You want to play the game, but don't want to play the game at the same time. Shout out to Lil Kiki, because he said in 2015, in 2016, you either gonna be a savage, you're gonna be a Samaritan, but you can't be both. And that go the problem right there with a lot of times with people in their politics views. They want to be a savage and they want to be a Samaritan. You can't be both. It's virtually impossible. So figure out what you're gonna do. You two all over the place. And then, the community. Charleston White, where you at? Fuck the community. It's about the connections, because you got to have straight up points with people who you can really build with, who you can discuss with, where you can bypass all the little fluff narratives and get to work. Because as we've seen, regardless of what decade you pick, there's only one true fashion where the economy in this country been worth the fuck. And that's under the Clinton administration. You can go times before that, and go times after that. So out of that, don't tell me it's about this or it's about that, and you don't have a stance for self and the reason why you voting for people. Yeah, I'm all for you reading and researching, but at the same time, a lot of people not reading to understand. They reading to feel good. They truly are. So, and they surface level reading on top of that. I don't give a fuck if it's Republican or Democrat. Look at what this woman's doing. She's advocating against Kamala, right? She's telling black people to go vote and this, that, and the third. You, the same system you talking about got you.
Oh, okay. I would love to. Okay, no, I think I was muted.
I'm not. Tasha, go ahead. The
Sorry,
floor is
I mean,
yours.
he
The
is like
floor.
the Wizard of Oz. This is definitely a more liberal leaning show because we get muted, we don't get our First Amendment. Anyway, so what I was going to say is that, what you're talking about, D, is like kind of a neutralizing politics idea, which ultimately, like Malcolm X was kind of like, he actually wanted to kind of form his own party that really speaks to kind of like what you're talking about. However, unfortunately, kind of like the Bloods and Crips, I mean, we have the GDs, we have all these little things in between, but like those are still the strongest gangs, whether we like it or not. And so people tend to become a faction of it or lean to one or the other if they feel like they need to have power in their community. And so as much as we would love to say that, we should just neutralize it because either side's for us and we're all part of it, well, that's true. But that, to me, I see that as a call to action to get involved. Like, for whatever reason, we believe that we can't be at these decision-making tables. It took me learning that actually I don't need to have 1 million degrees and do all this different stuff and have a perfect life to be a politician. I didn't know that, but that's the picture they paint. Therefore, people believe they can't be a part of the process and they think they're just victims. No, you just need to be 18 and registered to vote. Like, literally. So to do most everything except for attorney general in your own state. And so I see what he's saying as a call to action. If you get enough people that are going to put their names on the ballot, they're going to go out there, that are going to, supposedly, if this is how all the people feel, supposedly, if this is a general fact, then you need to do something about it. Because the reason why the same people are in power doing the same thing the same way and we're getting the same results is because none of us regular people have decided, or we don't do politics and it doesn't matter and nothing's going to change. So we don't do anything, but we're still subject to the system. It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if you don't do anything, it's the same. If you do something, it could possibly change. So for me, I feel like it's worth it to try for the it could possibly change than just to sit there and let things happen and complain about it back and forth about what everything's going on. And so I like what you said, Dee, because to me, it's a call to action. To me, it's like, okay, so we need to get involved. And that's really what my role has been in Washington State, has been to get people involved. Yes, I have stated what my personal voting preferences are for my personal reasons, for my family. However, my focus isn't trying to convince people not to vote for someone or to vote for someone. My purpose is, do you even know what these people stand for? Do you actually even know why your gas prices are $5 a gallon? Do you even know why you don't have a state, what your kids are being taught to in school? Let's get that going. And yes, the majority of people don't, but I don't feel like giving up on people just because the majority of them don't. Those who went before us that got our civil rights movement and everything else going didn't give up on the majority of ignorant people that don't do their research and don't read. So I don't really feel, I don't want to do that. I can't reach everybody, but I can reach somebody.
Okay. Hey, you made some good points. We're gonna read these comments real quick because they're coming in a little faster now. So we'll make sure everybody comments get read. Hey, listen, if you guys are watching us on YouTube, man, like and subscribe to the channel, share it out with your friends. The conversation is taking a turn. Now we're getting a little bit more aggressive because people are pointing out the fact that administrative rights have been chosen to be taken just to get a point across. So right now she's muted herself. So my hands is off the button. Now I get the chance to speak, and I'm gonna read the Underground Rose says, how, hold on, let me put it on the screen. Boom. How do we ensure they all receive the resources in the Black community for the children to be on an even playing field as those with the resources? Tasha, I'll let you go first. You can unmute yourself and address that question.
That's actually a really good question. In Underroad, I actually work in social services. I'm a program manager for an organization that serves individuals that are experiencing homelessness, housing crisis, and employment issues. And I've been in that work for over almost 20 years. So I can speak to that actually as a real situation, as well as lived experience being a single mom and on different services over the course of 20 years, just to give you a background. Now, here's the thing, like making, the actual battle with resources is not between like Black people. It's actually between everybody and honestly illegal immigrants, right? And and unfortunately, depending on who the leadership is, we don't have control over that. And so yes, I'm saying that because I'm in this work and I'm telling you, at least I'm okay. How about this? I'm in a sanctuary state. So I'm in a state where people like Texas can send their illegal immigrants to, and they can find asylum and they can become refugees and they can get help. So let me fix that. So in my state, we actually have to make sure that resources are getting to all Americans, no matter what race they are, no matter what creed they are. But to speak to your question on a more national level, on a more, I guess, neutral level, not just speaking to Washington State, I mean, it's again going to have people in place that make those decisions about distribution. And that's us as community members standing up, not just complaining about what's not getting to us, but actually being in that. Like I was on my kids' PTA. I was involved in those committees. I had a voice. I made sure that things were done a certain way. I've been like that since 6th grade. So it's very important that we're not waiting for some government or some big people or entity to make decisions and be fair to us. No, we need to actually be present in those spaces to make sure things are allocated correctly. And those are usually positions that are voted on by the people. The people get to choose that. But if we don't actually show up and represent, then who are they going to vote for? Either people are going to win by default and make those decisions of distribution, or the people, or nothing else is going to happen after that.
All right. Hey, Underground Rose says, thank you for that. D, you want to comment to anything on this? Keep it short real quick. We're going to run through the rest of these comments and then jump back into
I
it.
wish our politics was like North Korea. They get busy over there. See, all that stuff, that yapping they did do. Oh, your mama look like this, that, and the third. Now, you say that over there, there's somebody come across the aisle with that chair in their hand and they're going to bop you across your head. They get busy over there. I wish our politics was like that. I don't know, like whoever be the last man standing, even if I might not agree with you, if you got hands, you might get my vote.
All right, so to you as well, Underground Rose says thank you. She or he, I don't know if that's a he or she. They also say I'll reach out to Candace's dad to ask about that. I guess that's what you was talking about earlier, Tasha, when it came to Candace Owens and stuff. But he said I'll reach out to Candace's dad to ask about that. I don't find Candace condescending as she is pointing out the contradiction in behaviors. I agree. She is totally pointing out the contradictions and the behaviors that a lot of people can't take because we live in a society where individuals must be coddled and pacified with your truth. So if you have an opinion on something and you speak about it, people think that their reaction to your opinion is going to change your opinion. And I think that she's talking about all the contradictions that we say one thing and do the total opposite. So I love Candace Owens. Ma'am, if you ever run for president, not because you can be a Black woman or a Black period, I would vote for you because I align with majority of the things that you say about my community. All right, cool beans. So let's get to this. Underground Road says, yes, personal attacks do not win the argument. Underground Road also says negative and positives have to be addressed. We cannot overlook it. All right, man. Carrie Rock One says, spot on, Tasha. Getting involved, grassroots. Excuse me. Know the Constitution. Learn the processes. Stand up, speak. Then we also, Adriana Rico says, I found you. Amen. I don't know if they're talking to you, Tasha, or D. Whose people is that? Somebody know, one of y'all, because can't be me. I don't know Adriana, but Adriana, welcome to TMAX Network. Welcome to the Winner Circle. We got Mrs. Tasha Mae on the panel tonight. She goes, I don't know if she goes by, but I'm going to call it that on the day show. She goes by the Black Republican. I heard her say it. That's why I put it underneath her tag. And it's just something nice and fluffy and innocent and fun to respond to when it comes to describing our sister Tasha. Tasha, I do want to tell you this before we get to a couple more comments and then uh, back to this clip real quick. I want to tell you, man, I appreciate you so much because the reason why I reached out to you from the beginning was that you bring a different perspective than I'm used to seeing around in our community. We don't have, if we do have a lot of black quote unquote Republicans, they're not speaking up. They're not coming out. Now, more and more people are speaking up on those platforms, YouTube and Instagram and things like that. But you're actually out there on the front line. I saw you at the RNC just coming back. We're going to bring up that as we shift. We're at an hour and 15 minutes into the broadcast. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I say we got Mrs. Tasha Mae from Seattle, Washington, the Black Republican, here to take any questions, here to clear up any misconceptions when it comes to being black and Republican in the same sentence, like D stated, being black and Republican or black and Democrat. None of that makes no sense. So what we're going to do right now is finish up these comments real quick. Miss Adriana Rico says, love Candace Owens. Tasha is why I'm here. There you go. Hey, Tasha, you might not know their actual YouTube page name, but somebody that you know you, and they are over here. So we appreciate both of you guys for bringing the attention over to the channel. Tasha is amazing, and I am a Latina Republican. Hey, listen, welcome over here. Whether Republican, Democrat, right, left, black, white, gray, brown, we love each and every last one of y'all over here. Your voices shall be heard. If you want to say something live on the panel, you can click that link in the description over on YouTube. It's going to bring you right over here into the studio, and I'll pull you up. The only thing that we require is 1, have respect. 2, keep all your attitude to yourself. 3, got to show your face. I don't do the icon thing where you can just talk behind a picture or a silhouette. So with that being said, let's get back into the clip that we're going to shift, because this lady, she goes into a space in her comment and she got smoked. You can tell it's personal, but it's also very much thought out, and she brings facts in there as well. So let's go on and bring the clip back up. All right, here we go.
All across this country today. Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Senator Harris.
And she couldn't refute any of that. She couldn't refute any of it. And shortly after this debate right here, she dropped out.
All righty. So D, the lady dropped some. She put who's that? Haley, right?
Yeah.
She put a lot of labels out there on now Vice President Kamala Harris. But I want you to speak on what she just mentioned, her history as being a prosecutor and things of that nature. And then Tasha, I want you to come behind him and let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room when it comes down to Vice President Kamala Harris and what the rally behind her her campaign is looking like it's going to be. So I have you address the fact that if she code switching, being what she needs to be in the right place at the right time with the right message. Is that what she's doing? So Tasha, hold on to that. I want you to address that. But D, this young lady put some charges on Kamala Harris, and she's talking about her history as a prosecutor. So D, go in, man. How do you see Kamala Harris' history as a prosecutor? What did she do to the black community or to black men?
It's no different than Ted Poe. No difference in Ted Poe at all. Ted Poe had his own son locked up. They killed him. Ted Poe locked up his own wife. He's a Republican. He's a judge. He fast-tracked a whole lot of people to fucking prison and did it and played games with him. He threw change at people, and whatever change they didn't catch, he said you can add that up for whatever many years you can think about it. He has shackled people up from their fucking head to their feet, and however many steps it take you to get over here, you can add 10 years for every step that you get, 20 in some cases. So he made a whole mockery, a game out of the legal system. She did nothing that her counterparts didn't do. They all do the same thing. It's a politics going to politic. I don't get why people don't understand that. Politics gon' politic. And after she called out all them facts, which wasn't a secret, it wasn't no secret, you went back and hung out with her. Let's talk about the pictures of you hanging and hugging on her at events and shit like that. That we want to get called out. I'll call them all out. Let's talk
listen,
about
Adriana Rico says, but they are not running for president. Like
it. Don't matter.
she's trying to keep
Don't
it
matter.
on the presidential level.
Okay.
Tasha, you shaking your head? Does it matter or not?
You know, again, I love D because D is like, I feel like the voice of kind of all of us. Like, if we could just really neutralize politics and sides and just like somehow find a way to live our own lives without, you know, giving power to anybody, that's what, you know, would be the real American dream, right? And so, again, unfortunately, though, as much as I would love to when I turn 16, just drive a vehicle, and I think in like small towns, you probably can do that. But without any repercussions, I actually have to go through a system. I actually have to get a driver's license. I actually have to get a permit. I have to do all these processes that are in place for these different reasons that have, you know, behind every rule is some person that they were formed for. So as much as I would love to just be able to drive a car unchecked with no consequences, because I think that getting a license is stupid and whoever came up with it is dumb. And at the end of the day, they're just trying to control me. I would love that. But there's things in place. And so I'm saying that to say that I actually really appreciate his perspective, because I think that he actually represents what a lot of us think. Like, both sides, like, who cares? It's all a game. They fight and duke it out in front of us, but their kids all go to the same private school. They all golf at the same golf course. They probably have a house in the same, you know, vacation pad. Like, you know, and I'm not ignorant to that. I'm not naive to that. And that's why I continue to be redundant in reiterating the words of the late Malcolm X, where it's like, you know, there's just like one side that maybe have a little less check boxes in the like screw over average Americans box, especially Black Americans box. Not that they're not both doing it, but just that there's one that maybe checks a little less boxes in that category. And so, you know, the lesser of two evils is kind of an oversaid statement, but it's also true. And at the end of the day, like, okay, we could just choose not, like, with that mindset, we could just choose not to vote. I'm just not going to vote. It doesn't matter. They're going to do what they're going to do, whatever. Well, I choose not to do that. And I encourage people not to do that, because there are people who went before us that look like us, that fought for that were beat up, that were spit on, that were all these things murdered to get us the right to vote, to get us to have a say in a voting seat at the table. So I won't just do away with that, even if it feels like it doesn't matter. It feels like they're all going to do what they're going to do and whatever. That's why I'm aspiring one day to have a seat at the table, because I understand that, right? Like, and I'll give you guys an example of this. And I know what you wanted me to kind of weigh in on, but I feel a little more called to the front half of the question, is that I remember, and I was like in sixth grade, I think, and like literally all the chicken nuggets were making us sick. Like, we were all getting sick. No one would listen to us, whatever. And so I just remember the food was bad. All these things were happening in school I didn't like. And they talked about ASB. And there was like a couple of kids that were the same ASB kids and everything else. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to run for class president, because I don't like the stuff that's happening here. I don't like what's happening, you know, and I decided to do that. And I ended up winning. And then I was VP one year, and then I won again. And I realized, as much as I didn't like the fact that a few little elite people with elitist mindsets get to make a decision for my entire class and my entire school, that's just the way that it is. So I decided I was going to make room for myself there. And so I think, you know, as much as we'd like to neutralize politics and neutralize that everyone feels this way and they all do it and whatever, we still need to make informed decisions about maybe who, even if it's just who checks more boxes in your situation. And I know that's not the direction you want this question to go, but I'm saying that to say that yes, all the things she said. So I am impacted. My family members, extended family, have been heavily impacted by the correctional system in Washington State. We are a 3-strike state, so they have been heavily impacted by just unfair sentences and all kinds of stuff. And of course, the Democrats have come back and they're reforming the stuff that they actually put in place in the first place. But anyway, and so as a result, I'm very passionate about that. I actually work side by side as an advocate with it, believe it or not. And I look like anti-Republican, I guess, but it's not, because it affects human beings. It affects people I care about. And I've helped with, be a part of legislative bills, or at least proposed bills, to see about changes in sentencing and things of that nature, and supporting families of incarcerated and everything else. So the facts that she gave, especially if she said she would run the country that way, that's something that would resonate with me. Not because of anything else, not because everyone else is doing it, but because she's actually done it, and she's saying now she's in a position to be the officer in chief or whatever of America, and she's saying she would do the same thing from that level. Although we already know that, she can't just do it. She doesn't have autonomy in that way. But still, that's how her mindset would be. So that would cause me to pause. And so that's where that information would be valid for me. And that is one of the reasons I'm not voting for her, is because of just her that past, that background. That's what she's done. Yeah, she's trying to overturn it and marijuana and all that stuff because she doesn't want people to be mad at her. But I know what she really wanted to do and what she has done. So again, I think people should just make decisions based on how it impacts you and your family, and that's that. I mean, we can neutralize it if we want to, but it is what it is. It's a 2-party system, and if you want to see change, you have to either get involved or vote accordingly.
It's trash. It's big trash. I ain't gonna lie. Fact of the matter is, it's so super trash that people will say, oh, but they're not running for the president. You're right. But they are the motherfuckers who impact you more than anything. See, the president got to reach out to someone to reach out to you. But the people in your area, the ones that literally be the ones that have to tap you on the ass. Learn the game if you want to play it. Because a lot of people don't do it. And this is why they all so vocal right now. Because 2 years ago, 6 years ago, but every 4, oh, everybody's vocal. Everybody's vocal. But where you at when it's time for you to talk 2 years prior? When it's time for you to make them decisions 6 years prior? You have nothing to say because you don't know what the hell's going on. But you know the orange man, you know the black woman, you know the black guy that went to Harvard and married a black woman that went to Harvard. You know this president, you know this one, but you don't know the people in your area. Like I told Tasha last year, or not last year, last week, I said, I refuse to talk to you motherfuckers about world news or national news, and you don't know what the fuck going on in your HOA. You don't know that your grass can't be over 2 inches, or the trash can't sit on the curb past 5 p.m. You don't know if you can't hang on one kind of wreath during holiday seasons. But yet, you got all this vitriol, all this disgust and disdain for shit that's going on that has nothing to do with you. Amazing.
I'm going to say ditto with less curse words. Just kidding. But I'm going to say ditto to that 100%. I'm very big on promoting understanding what's happening, local politics, if you will, like hands down. Because in Washington State, we actually have a thing in place that circumvents the Constitution called the Washington Administrative Code. We can do whatever we want in Washington State, and it actually gives zero power to the president in a lot of ways. Like, for example, the really only thing that Donald Trump did that impacted Washington State was stimulus checks that nobody returned and no one had a problem spending. But everything else is under the local purview, under the state purview. And so you're absolutely correct. It is quite annoying that people don't weigh in on their school boards, their city councils, their transportation, all these different things. You need to be involved in those levels. That's actually where the decisions are made about what's happening in the schools, what's happening with local taxes, what's happening, those different things. And you're mad about stuff as if actually Kamala and Donald Trump have anything to do with that. They have nothing to do with it. They don't even know what your taxes are in Washington State. They don't care. And so I absolutely agree with you. With less curse words, bravo, well stated.
That's why
Man,
I'm not a
both of you
politician.
guys, I know that's right. He can't censor the filter of the words. But listen, Adriana, I disagree, man. Depending on where you come from, and listen, the food that I was accustomed to before I went to school, actually, food was one of the things that I looked forward to going to school for. When I got there, they had the little square pizzas that was different from the little pizzas that we had at the dollar store. That the bitch just said, "Oh, excuse me," it just said pizza, right? But when I got to school, that little square piece, I was actually playing people rock, paper, scissors for their pizza. So the food at school was amazing. Okay. And then she says they're gonna organize. She said, I'm gonna organize something for our schools. Let's get fresher foods. Now I would agree if you ask the nutrition, how's this food at schools, at public schools, they would tell you it's no good for you. But a little black boy coming from the country streets of Pahosky, St. John, North Carolina, that didn't have much, that food was amazing. Let's keep more of that good food in schools, okay? Um, let's go ahead and knock out the rest of these. Adriana said, yes, that's why I need this woman to be representative of families in Washington and maybe even the whole country. Let's give a round of applause for Miss Tasha Mae. Tasha, you're being nominated as not only probably a governor or a senator out there in the state of Washington, but you're also being brought up for a conversation piece of 2028 when it comes to the United States White House. Okay, so we'll vote for you over here, just long as you keep the food in schools, in the public schools, tasty. Okay, voting locally is important. Uh, she said, yeah. Get out there, knock on doors, know your neighbors, and that's a fact. Knowing your neighbors is a great thing. School boards are grassroots. Okay, I would agree. True that. True that. And man, Adriana Rico, we appreciate you for dropping all your comments and being so engaged in the chat room. She said we need smart people in the White House. Hey, a way to my stomach is food. I know that's right. Me too. Okay, cool. So now that we off on the food section, we got a visitor coming through real quick, and we're gonna bring him to the front of the stage. I think I've been waiting to hear from him all night long. Let's go ahead on and address the elephant in the room. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Mr. Charleston White.
Women can't be corrected. The preacher can't even correct them. God can't even correct them. You really got to beat black women. You got this on camera? Yeah. Ben, please, because you really got to beat black women. Every nigga I know got a damn near whoop his hoe. A black woman to listen. You can't say, shut up. God damn. She come out the room, won't know who you calling them. Me and the mother girl shut up.
So wait, how do you change that 24 hours later? Because it's like,
oh, because I prayed and meditated. Don't you pray and meditate and ask for God to give you an answer?
Yeah.
Man, I just come out the shower. I was praying and meditating with the Lord. And God showed me, because I was basing my decisions off black women with no man. I ain't never seen them. You see what I'm saying? I've been looking at all these black women who can't keep a man, don't have a man, and they have a hard time listening to a man. Well, here's Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris ain't no black woman. Her daddy is Indian and her mama Asian. She ain't got a in her. You see what I'm saying? So she got a white man. Now, one thing I know about any colored woman, whether she's Mexican, black, yellow, light brown, dark brown, pitch black, or Kodak black. One thing I know about the colored woman is one man she listened to, and that's a white boss. Can't nobody tell a black woman nothing but a white boss, homie. So this woman here, this color, she got a white husband that seemed to be doing a good job as a husband, and she seemed like she followed instructions and can be corrected. You can't correct black women in America. You got to beat them.
All right, so look, close your mouth, Tasha. Let's go ahead and introduce you to, if you don't know who he is, you know who he is, right?
I'm still speechless from that video, so.
Okay, I just want to make sure that you know who the great Charleston White is, because if he was running for president at the same time that you would be, ma'am, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to do like D and turn my focus, my attention over there to Mr. Charleston White. And the reason being is because like Charleston and myself, he don't censor himself for the tender ears of nobody who can't take the truth raw and uncut with a spoon. Now, do he say certain things to get a rise out of people? Do he break the internet and go viral every 2 days or every 20 minutes? Yes, because he says he's a shock jock as well. But if you tune out your emotions and listen to what Mr. White says, it's very interesting that he aligns with a lot of the thoughts and the views of people that's out here struggling. Now, anytime that we speak on the economy, and then I ask people, man, bro, like what's going on? Like for the last 4 years or 3 years, going on 4, been talking to people, and I've been saying, man, God, oh boy, food, gas, water, daycare, taxes, this, taxes that. They get so they know you got so tired of hearing the word tax, so they just change it with the word fee, right? And everybody's out here struggling. So Mr. Charleston White comes up and he says something that shocks your emotion, but peel that thing back like an onion and get to the core of the thing. He's speaking the truth. Don't worry about when he say physically harming the opposite sex of a man and doing DV and domestic violence. No, he ain't talking about all that. He's being very sarcastic when he say that, but what he's saying is that to him, that's the only way that you're going to get as a black man to get a black woman to listen. So Tasha, what do you say when he addressed the fact that the normal thing that he comes out and says is that a black woman won't listen to nobody but a white man as his boss, as a husband, or anything of that nature? She don't have no black roots. Her Indian roots, her Asian roots supersedes her African or whatever she's supposed to be black by. How is she supposed to be black anyway? I don't know. But go ahead on and address the fact though that what do you say, Tasha, when it comes to the fact that black women don't listen to nobody but a white man?
Well, I distinctly remember the laying on of hands from my father, and he was black, and I listened to every word he said. But that's neither here nor there. This is what I'm going to say, and I'm only going to entertain this question for the sake of your show, because in regular conversation, I wouldn't even go there, because none of who she listens to, per se, I've already made my decision, and I feel like that's just extra. But if we want to actually talk historically, right? So, and yes, I'm going to go there. You think about, slavery, the first thing they did was break the men from the families and the women and their children. Okay, so the only person they had accountability to were white men. And unless you had a person that once there's freedom and everything that broke that type of a mindset, then it's probably potentially correct. Now, I'm blessed to have had a very active, present black father with active present uncles, and I have raised 3 amazing black kings. Therefore, whoever actually has the respect and has earned it, if you will, other than my father, of course, rest in peace, I'm going to give you that respect. And that, again, comes from my upbringing, that comes from my background. And I think that what he's saying is obviously based on his experience, and it's impossible that, it's impossible that any man has had exposure to every black woman in America that exists. And then every single one of them, through your exposure, I don't know how you live through everything. There's only 365 days in a year, but I don't know how you visited however many millions of black women that are here to determine if they would listen to you or not. And if you actually were able to survey them all and actually give them an instruction, and you were successful at finding out if they would listen to you as a black man, and you did that, then if that's the point that I would actually listen to that type of feedback. However, I'm not offended by it, because I believe the same thing for a different reason. Okay, I actually believe that she doesn't actually, unless it's convenient, embrace her blackness to a point where she married a white man, adopted his white family, and has only ever referenced her black anything when it's convenient for her to get into office. And so maybe that's listening to him. I don't know if that's what it is, but that is something that I point out often, is you guys are like, okay, she's pro-black, but there's nothing about her day-to-day family life that would actually reflect that. Okay, fine, I guess she went to an HBCU, she wears Chuck Taylors, and she can do some type of a dance. However, honestly, I think Hillary Clinton kind of came close to doing the same thing. So again, I'm not really impressed by that. I look at people's home life. I look at who they spend time with. I look at what they actually do, not for the convenience of the vote. So for a very different reason, I do reference her white husband and other people in her life, but I just don't, because I don't actually believe that she wants the life of that being a Black woman with a Black man, with a Black family. That is actually not the life she wanted, but she will definitely leverage it, or dig deep however she can. Like she was Indian America in the first election. Now then she was Asian, and now she's Black. So it's like whatever she wants to tap into, she taps into. And then there's her white husband that's just there, I guess, to really represent what she really cares about. And so for different reasons, I agree with him. But again, I'm sorry, my dad had a belt in the fear of the Lord, and I had no problem listening to him or any other Black male that was an authority that I respected in my life. So I guess I'm one a Black woman in the whole entire America, since you questioned them all, Mr. White, that actually would be willing to listen to a Black man.
That was amazing. So what I would say to that is that Charleston White for 2024, I get it. You know, I think D, I think that he has expired on the case because they've already selected the two people that they're going to have going up against one another in November. But what I would say is, because you and I both know Mr. Charles White, that we can go ahead on and throw a birdie in his ear for 2028 and say, man, I think you're more popular than the current sitting vice president, and you're more popular than the 45th president of the United States, I would say, right now. Right, Charleston White goes more viral than anybody else on YouTube or any of these platforms.
And don't forget, his antics are his antics. A lot of people don't understand. This is a master mindful man. He will tell you exactly what the fuck he is about to do. It's no smoke and mirrors. You just in the mindset of being decepted because you decepted yourself. He's not going to deceive you at all. He's going to give it to you right on point. Charleston came out here on the internet and literally gave himself to the world. Look, everybody, there's this program, there's this. Sign up. They're looking for you to this and that. Nothing happened. But when he started snapping, going off, he looked at the numbers and said, "No, they can't only respond just to this." Listen, let me give you out. All right, this is how I got this money with my job. I saw something was going on. I called OSHA. Took it to HR. HR didn't respond. I felt for my life. I took him to court, sued him. Had me back at the job. I got $50,000 in my pocket. I did it a couple times. And he said, and I'm gonna do it again. Yeah. This is before he became everything what people think they know about the man. The man is well read. He's no stupid idiot. He's far from it. So everything he really does do, he does take care of kids in neighborhoods that he don't live in. He also takes care of kids in his neighborhood that which he does live in. So not only is he more popular, bro, he's also more informed than a lot of them. Because when they talk about grassroots, Charleston has done that. He's implemented programs with the government. Oh, we can't say that for a lot of people.
Adriana said, "I know who he is, and he is insane." She said, "Please never do a deep dive on him. I promise." Man, listen. She also says Kamala is doing what they want her to do. All right, it doesn't matter her race. It's all the distractions, soap opera and all. Okay. Prison industries. All right, school pipeline to prison. Okay. Says she said that she wasn't Black, but it's just part of the soap opera. True. She says crazy. No on Charleston. Exactly what is his antics? Okay, maybe he gets a lot of hits, but it's not for the reason that he is wise. Wait a minute, D.
Can I just interject and just say that again, we need to be a space where people can reflect how their perceptions of things, right? So again, nobody is going to have the same come to the same conclusion about any person. Like, for example, I've talked with D a couple times, and honestly, like, I really like his logic. I don't like that he kind of stays in Switzerland about things, but I do like his logic and it makes sense. There are others who will listen to him and go, what the heck? He's not making sense. This is stupid. And so we just need to allow that. That's why we're in America, and we need to allow that space. And, you know, again, like I know that, you know, Mr. White, first of all, I applaud him for finding a way to capitalize off of this type of stuff and give himself visibility, make money for his family, and do what he's doing. And just like Dee said, everything is a business, you know, and it's not like, for example, I mean, my nonprofit, which is to help people get off the welfare system, is powerful, but it's not popular. I barely get grants because I'm actually teaching people how to become independent. They're not going to fund that. They want to fund the programs that keep people codependent in a system in a hamster wheel. So I barely get grants. I barely get assistance or anything from the state. I have to get private dollars to even do what I do, or do it for free at my own expense, because they don't actually want people to be free, right? So it's kind of similar where I feel bad that he had great tools and great resources that could help people. And then it wasn't until he started saying things that may to some seem extreme and crazy or insane even to get some attention. So I just say bravo for playing the game, you know, and then hopefully, you know, he will leverage that influence to shift back to some of the community resources, shift back to some of the things he was trying to do to build community. And that's what I hope he does with that platform. But just kind of going back, here's what I'm going to say, that it's so important, you guys, when people make statements, we have to look at the facts. And I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a personal testimony. I was coming out of a narcissistic abusive situation, and this person actually told me, no one's ever going to love you. Now, because this person had me in a headspin and I was on this hamster wheel, and oh my God, I was so caught up, I actually believed him. And I was telling my therapist, oh my God, he said no one's ever going to love me. And you know what she said to me? She said, Tasha, do you think that he had time to survey the, at the time, 6.78 billion people on the planet to find out if any of them would ever love you? And I'm like, well, no. You know, and it was like, it just was a reality check of, from his perspective, based on his experience and whatever he was going through. And that's how it is with anybody. They're going to make those statements. They're going to do that. So for us to absorb them as truth or not absorb them or reject them or get mad about it, I think is ridiculous. And this is me being my little neutral self in this moment, where like people are going to say, that's why we live in America. We're going to say what we say. That's why I really try to speak from personal experience and not tell people what they should do or how they should do it, or say all black men do this and all white women do that and all, because I haven't met all of you to even know if that's true, you know? So I really try to be careful about generalizations, and I encourage everybody that's listening, however extreme it may be, you know, that you understand that people are speaking from the context of their experiences and maybe possibly research combined with that only, but still that's limited. And you don't have to listen to it. You don't have to agree with it, but you should respect it, that people are taking the time to share what they believe in and what they think.
Yeah, I get it. I agree somewhat. I say this: if I was inside your house telling you that your fuchsia walls should be purple or your purple walls should be yellow, and you told me get your own damn walls and get up out of here, I can respect your opinion. But at the end of the day, these are my walls. So I get it when you say respect and value opinions of people that's coming in. But see, here's the thing: one thing I like about Mr. Donald Trump, one thing that I like about Candace Owens is that yes, you have an opinion, you can voice your opinion, but don't automatically expect people to agree with it. Okay, that's something Tasha's talking about, and I appreciate her bringing that fact up. Don't automatically expect that people agree with it, and if they don't, who cares? It's still your opinion. You go voice it. If you're looking for a peanut gallery, then go and only find the people that's saying yes and amen. At the end of the day, stop trying to convince other people that's saying no and I don't agree to agree. So, man, well spoken, well said, Tasha. I appreciate that, man. Hey, she said, "Yep, individuals." Uh, Underground Rose said, "Just do."
That's my
Okay,
girl. That's my girl.
yeah. And then Adriana Rico says, "Yes, thank you, Tasha, and all who are willing to hear people out." You're absolutely correct, man. So we appreciate that over here. Let's go ahead on and transition over to this last clip that we'll talk about, and then we want to hear from Tasha a little bit more. If anybody want to come up to the panel, ask a question live, you're able to do so But I want to put. Oh, I'm so glad I thought about this while I told people to come up to the panel. Tasha, D, let me drop you for a little second. Let me bring Tasha up with me, and I want to say this. Hey, listen, let me make myself big over here so you can see me a little bit more. Okay, listen. We have some people on Facebook, and I posted a picture and a couple of videos and a couple of posts up. And there were some people in the comment section. I know some of you Storm Guns are looking right now, and you're either looking on Facebook, laying in your bed, scratching yourself, trying to figure out should you join in the conversation and bring that same smoke. But let me tell you something. If you don't join in this conversation tonight, after you worried me to death and sat up there and went back and forth with me in the comment sections on my post, if you don't join in tonight, then next Sunday night, I'm going to say your name first and last. I'm going to call you out, and I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to bring you to the table because y'all had a lot of smoke. You're blindly voting for a person because they're black or female. And at the end of the day, you don't want to hear the truth. The facts are the facts. Joe Biden deteriorating mentally. I pray for the brother every night. He's still the president until he's not the president no more. But you guys have some smoke, and you ain't got the galls or the balls to jump up here tonight and get up here and talk to Tasha live. You was talking to me like I was some political analyst. All right. Hey, Tasha, I was letting them know. I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. I know nothing about politics. I'm a regular citizen like you who hardly looks up anything, who speaks from talking points. I said, but I got this young lady that's coming to the platform who literally does this. Do you know one thing? I don't see none of them commenting. I don't see none of them clicking the link and coming up in here. You scared. You're a coward, and I tell you you're a coward, and I want to see you on the next show. And if you ain't on the next show, because we're going to be talking about this thing all the way to November. If you're not on the next show, guess what? First and last, we'll make you famous. All right, Tosh, I had to get that out real quick. Let me bring D back up to the panel. All right. And then I'm going to go and pop this clip up, and then we'll transition to the end of the show. Let me see which one I want to put up here. All right, now I can't do that. I can't stand that dude. You're not talking about that.
You know, I am curious though what some of the comments were, and maybe we can still, although they're getting a scapegoat, address some of them, because I mean, I'm sure it's not something I haven't heard before, but I would love to entertain just for the sake of entertainment value. Even in honor of Mr. White, who knows, it might get interesting. I would love to hear some of those comments if you have them pulled up, or questions. Now, if it's obviously insulting me directly and you don't even know me,
no, we wouldn't even pull those comments up. General comments.
Curiosity. I mean, that's cool. I mean, I welcome questions. You know, at least you're asking. At least you're engaged. Now, if you're not a voter, I may not respond, but you know, for the sake of the show, I will.
Oh yeah, we had smoke, but I'm pulling those up now. Looking for those. Here we go. We're about to get close to it. All right, there it is, right there.
But again, I'm just gonna say for the record, expecting someone to vote for someone based on their skin color is racist. And expecting someone to vote on someone based on their gender is also sexist. So I'm just throwing that out there. Even if the roles were reversed, even if the Republicans presented a black woman or an Indian woman and then said all the Indians are horrible people for not voting for an Indian woman, it's the same principle. So I'm just saying that if those are the only two reasons, the only reason that you're voting, then that's actually racist. You're actually making an informed decision and making judgments based on a person's skin color and based on their gender. So that's actually, I don't know if someone wants to pull up the definition of racist, but that is actually what that means. So just so you know, I'm not racist, therefore I refuse to make a decision based on those things.
Oh man. Hey D, you got something you want to chime in on that while I'm looking for these comments?
Yeah. I'm going through it. Racist adjective characterized by showing prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism against the person's people basis of their membership in particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that is a minority or marginalized.
That has expanded since the 90s.
Yeah.
So even in that, how about this? I'm not voting for her because she's black. There you go. So either way,
because she ain't black.
or whatever she identifies as today.
Listen, overall, there's absolutely
I'm
nothing
just
wrong with
saying,
being
I'm
a
not,
race.
her aesthetics are not having nothing to do with my decision. Her
I'm
gender
I'm I'm
has
about to.
nothing to do with my decision.
We might go viral. I'm not. I'm gonna put it out here like this. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being a racist. It just means you think that your group is the superior group. Is everything wrong with acting out on it? That's the difference. You can think the shit all day long, but it's the acting out on it.
Wait. Okay. So I get what you're saying. Whether it's a preference or a negative connotation or whatever, I agree with you, right? It's kind of like be angry and sin not, is what I'm kind of hearing you say. Um, if you are in positions of power, decision-making power and all of that, and you are racist and you're making decisions, like you said, that impact people based on that, then I guess so be it. So if I could actually echo you, I have very conservative values. I like men. That's all that I want to be with. That's all I'm going to do. And I would prefer that any other indoctrinations not be taught to my children. But does that mean that I discriminate against individuals that have other lifestyles and other beliefs? I mean, I have several aunts that are living an alternative lifestyle, or whatever. I have all of that, and I treat them the same. I'm nice to them. I break bread with them. I mean, I have team members, staff that are all different types of things, they, them, and she, her, and all kinds of stuff. And it never comes out in that. But for my personal life, I just choose to live a very, honestly, somewhat pretty much traditional, Christian life. That's what I lead. But it doesn't impact how I serve community or how I see other people at all. And so I think that's kind of what you're saying. And I can respect that. I think racist is just like a hurtful, it's become such a word that's like, it's so ugly. But at the same time, I could see why you're saying that. Like, I don't agree personally for certain lifestyles, but I also will not negatively try to impact people because of their lifestyles, nor treat them negatively as a result of my personal beliefs within my own home.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of this shit is people trend vote, people trend watch news, people trend read, people trend therapy. To stop doing trends and actually start doing stuff that's purposeful, then it makes a big difference. I mean, outside of that, let's be honest. If people were really about a purpose, that number would read 700,000, not just 7, right? But it's not trendy enough to come in here and be informed and understand it's okay to sit down and politic with somebody who is opposite of you. Doesn't mean it's gonna wear off you. I have transgender friends. I have gay friends. I have gay relatives. I may have a transgender relative. I don't know. I haven't searched to try to find out. I have friends who are agnostic, atheist, Muslim, Jewish, Arabic, the whole nine. It's the fuck. It's people who connect with people. So at the end of the day, when we sit here and live in this place called America, which is supposed to be one of the greatest melting pots, we don't act like it. I'm gonna call a spade a spade. We don't act like it. And
you're right. And I was going to say, this is why I lean the way I do, is because I'm not a fan of excessive government. Like, yes, a lot of conservatives have their statements they say against people with different lifestyles, and they're like, blah, and you're weird, and they say all these horrible things about people that don't believe and live like them. They do. And I hear it, and I'm around it all the time. However, as far as actually putting together direct policies that actually enforce those ignorant statements, well, that's a different ballgame. So, for example, if you're saying, I don't want my white kids to go to school with monkeys, and then you create a law that segregates schools, that's a different ballgame than telling you and your friends at the golf tournament, I don't want my kids to be with those monkeys, and then nothing comes of that. It's small talk between you guys and cigars. So that's what I look at. It's not that I'm ignorant to the fact that people, even on my own side, see things a certain way, but who's actually put things into law, into legislation that has actually allowed that hate, ignorance, preference to impact my life, right? And that's kind of like where I lean, where I'm at with it. Why I like less government is because I think it's stupid that we have to get permission from the government to be who we want. Like, if you want to identify as a cat and sit in a kitty litter all day at your home, I don't know why there needs to be a law to tell you that you could do that. I just don't understand. If that's what you want to do, there's Halloween every year. We get to dress up. So why not do it 365 days out of the year? Like, if that's what you want to do in your life, then go do it. Like, I don't actually care what lifestyle you want to live. I care that my day-to-day life isn't ridiculously expensive. I care that, like, my son is learning how to read and write and math, and he doesn't understand everybody's personal fetishes and stuff, but he comes out of high school and he can't read. That's what I care about. So it's kind of like, you know, I don't really care what your lifestyle is. I really don't care. I don't live with you. Like, people are like, how could you vote for Donald Trump and he's like this? That's Melania's issue. I'm not married to him.
Hey, you know what you should tell them people? You know what you should tell them people? You should tell them people.
Shut up, silly woman.
That part. Did you catch that? Hey, listen. Did you catch that? Oh, she got a phone call.
I mean, we can be silly. I mean, I don't know the context of everything. It's like people picking a verse out of the Bible and saying all women shouldn't adorn themselves with jewelry, and you have a whole entire black denomination that took that to an extreme level and had black women dressed like Amish. Like, I mean, my dad grew up in that denomination. It's ridiculous, and you took it out of context, and that's stupid. So I don't really know the whole context. We probably don't even have time to watch the whole entire speech. But sometimes women are silly, and so are men, and so are kids, and so are people. So I don't really know the context of what he said, or he could have just been saying it. But if he came up with a law that bans silly women, and then now the law has to determine who's silly and who's not, and then now you don't get to have your rights, that'd be a whole nother ballgame. But him just saying it, I don't care. I don't care.
Absolutely.
So what?
Well, let's talk about something that you do care about, Tasha. Tasha, this is one of the things that a lot of people on the Kamala Harris side scaring the hell out of the rest of the black population by this one thing right here. Now, I want you to really break it down because you should have the answers, some of the answers that the people need to know when it comes to this. Look at the screen. Project 2025. Can somebody, anybody, let me know what Project 2025 is all about and why should black people be scared the way that they are right now? Tasha, the floor is yours.
So this is what I'm going to say is that, first of all, it's actually not his, although there are some of the things he actually agrees with in it. Like, he's like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And when you have extreme groups that come up with stuff, and then since you happen to be the nominee, they're going to put your name on it. I mean, like, he actually has an Agenda 47, which if people actually go to his website, hear what he talks about, what he's actually saying and doing, like, you guys, this isn't like new. Like, this isn't new for people to come up with some big, gigantic thing. And because us, and I'm going to say this based on my personal experience, us as black and brown people, we don't want, for systemic reasons, we're mentally lazy, and we don't want to read into our own research. Whatever pops up on the news, whatever trends, whatever Jay-Z and Beyonce say, we're like, oh my God, it must be true. So I'm not giving any weight to it because I know it's not his actual agenda. His actual agenda is Agenda 47, which I don't have memorized and I don't have pulled up because I didn't know I was going to be asked about it. However, I would encourage you to go to his website. I would encourage you to actually go to his sites and what he's actually saying about what he wants to do in the country. And as far as this other group, he has outwardly said, I don't even know where that comes from, although there's some things on it that are cool, but that's actually not my plan. And that's that. He's not giving a lot of weight to it. So I'm not going to either. I'm not afraid of something that actually was made up by a group of people that have no power other than access to the media to perpetuate something and play off the ignorance of the average Black American who's going to believe whatever they see, that they see on commercials the most, or whatever their cool, celebrity they like is promoting. And that's how I feel about that. Because I think I saw Taraji, I saw all these other people that we look up to because they're successful entertainers in the Black community, and they're saying something about it. So now we all believe it to be true. And I'm not a coattail writer, and I'm not going to really give weight to it more than what I've done. It's not his. So what do I have to say about it? Ask me something that's his, and I will pull up another device and answer to that.
Ronald Reagan once said, Politics is the second oldest profession. You come to learn that it bears a close resemblance to. Yeah, that's it with you. A little homework for all the people out there that don't know what the oldest professions are.
I would say that it's actually pretty genius. I mean, hey, we're the party that if you just tear down a statue, we actually think racism is gone. So, I mean, hey, burn a flag or hang a new flag, we actually think something's changed. So I guess we're pretty easy to convince. So why not come up with Agenda 2025? Or Project 2025?
Well, this right here is clearly on his website, and this is his what is it, Agenda 47? And it says seal the border and stop migrants invasion, carry out the largest deportation operation in American history, end inflation, and make America affordable again. Hey, listen, guys, look, cut the crap. Stop up with these talking points, Project 2025. Everybody, and look, here's the crazy part. I had a conversation last week or the weekend just passed, and majority of the things that people were saying, y'all, it sounded so robotic. And these were people that I know for a fact, for one, don't watch nothing when it comes to politics. They don't literally watch it on TV. They don't literally research it and Google it and research it and look it up. Go on Kamala Harris website or go on Donald. I know these people don't do that for a fact. And all they was preaching out their mouth was Project 2025. And they were looking scared to death like it was like Revelations in the second coming of Christ. And they was like, oh my God, tell me you're not voting for Trump because do you know what now look, they got the audacity to ask me, do I know what Project 2025 is? And then I play stupid. I go, no, what is it? Tell me about it. And they can't tell me nothing about it themselves. Only thing they say in talking points like, oh, veterans, he gonna take away your benefits, or poor people, he gonna snatch up your vouchers and your different little plans that you got to. Man, women, he gonna do this to your body, and that's bro. So, tell me, what do you know about 2025, or what's this right here? Agenda 47. So next time they tell me about 2025, I'm gonna say, do you know about Agenda 47? Because that's what he literally is talking about right now on his website, DonaldTrump.com. What do you got to say to that, D?
It ain't shit, either one of them. Neither one of them ain't shit. Bro, in our lifetime, we lived through the war on drugs. We went through the New Jack Swing era. A lot of people who were affected from the war on drugs. We survived supposedly what was supposed to be the greatest blackout that never happened. I'm still pissed about Y2K because I was at ATM machines New Year's Eve waiting for shit to go haywire. Had all my industrial trash bags waiting to catch all y'all money. I was gonna pop out 7 years later from Puerto Rico. We saw 9/11. We saw the recession. And from there, we saw the height of racism come back and spill over into the streets. We went through a pandemic. We saw jobs get cut, and we still here. All of us. And to take the fearmonger route on either side is asinine. It's remedial. It's foolish to perpetuate this notion that they want to do this, that, and the third to you when, bitch, they need you. The American country has 330 million people in it. It ain't but a handful of politicians. And if America ever decide to grow some real balls and paint the Black House white, or the White House black, or the Blue House green, or the Red House fuchsia, we would tear some shit up. But y'all don't see that. All y'all see is talking points, and you run with it. 10% of a nation got 90% of idiots running around here like chickens with their head cut off, and they ain't been touched. That's amazing. How did we get so damn stupid so damn fast?
You know, this is, and I'm going to kind of speak to, I guess, the humanitarian or maybe the more spiritual side of me. And this is where my heart for people comes in. And this is why I try to keep things a little simple. When I talk to people about issues, I ask them, what are the issues that matter to you in your day-to-day life? Let's start there. Whether it's how much your rent is, how much it costs to fill up your car, how much, daycare is. I want to know what those issues are. Now let's look at what actually creates those things. What affects those things? Okay, it's not federal government. It's my local government, or it's my city council, or it's whatever, right? Okay, so now let's look at what they're doing, what's on their agendas, who believes in what that aligns with it. So, I get what you're saying, and this is kind of where I get a little mushy, and this is probably why those people who are talking mess about me on Facebook don't want to be here, because I don't get into rings with people, because I ultimately want to see people have an impact in their own lives. I don't want people just to sit back and let these other these hot entities, elitists, make decisions for them. So I dig deep. I'm not running for office yet, but that's how I feel. I'm like, okay, what do you care about in your life? Well, now let's go back from there. Okay, what do you think actually impacts how much your daycare costs? I don't know. Okay, well, let's find out, right? So I'm willing to have those conversations. I'm actually doing educational things and in the community to encourage people to look into stuff like that. I have my glasses on, which are progressive lenses, but I definitely cannot see that. So, but I say that to say that, like, I guess, you're right. Like, people are this way. And going back to Candace Owen, like, yes, what she's saying is technically correct. I've even said, how dare can you say Rosa Parks, but your pants are sagged and you're choosing to sit on the back of the bus now? I've said stuff like that. I'm going to keep it 100. It's kind of the similar principle. But at the end of the day, though, okay, if you're perpetuating something you think is cool and you don't understand that sagging your pants comes from being bucked and broken as a black male slave, then let's talk about that. Let's talk about why you think that's cool. And I'm willing to have those conversations. And I guess that maybe won't make me a great politician, because I actually care about people understanding what they're doing, understanding how it impacts their life, and understanding the process.
All right, well, look, Sister Carrie Rock says 900 pages written by Heritage as a blueprint for the future Republican administration to restructure many parts of the United States government, Project 2025. Also, Trump called the program absolutely ridiculous and abysmal. And Rico says we must keep our eyes local, take care of each other. I know that's right, 100%. And no problem. That's why you will get the grassroots. You will, Tasha, 100%. You will collect majority of the votes, because one thing about it, even if a person is neutral or leaning a little bit left, they can still understand where you're coming from, because you speak from the heart and you bring facts along with it. That's one thing that a lot of people don't do. They just talk, get it all in their feelings and bring no facts. Some of those comments that I was just showing up from Facebook just a second ago, she don't have the right type of glasses on, so I'll read off a couple of them. Demarcus Streeter. Let me put your name out there on Front Street. It says, my father, what it says, let me see. All right, so DeMarcus says, why do I have to be listening to Fox to have a different of opinion? If you knew me and who I am, I'm not for Agent Orange. All right, so see, that's one thing I don't like right there. See, first thing that people get to do, he talking about Agent Orange, he talking about Donald Trump. So that's one of the things that when a person can't have a conversation without throwing an insult, the late great Kevin Samuel said, when a person is short on facts and views, they have to do the thing called SIGN, SIGN, stands for shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right. Soon as first thing out your mouth, DeMarcus Streeter on Facebook, y'all look him up. First thing out your mouth, DeMarcus Streeter, is an insult. Okay? That's how I know that you don't know nothing that you're talking about and you just coming up here blabbing. All right? And you was talking to Dwayne Hodges. Just let it for the record. You wasn't talking to me. But it was on my page and I had the privilege and the right to say what I wanted to say to that as well. So then you says Agent Orange, but anything other than her, I have to be about Trump. No, anything other than her, I have to be about Trump. Again, she can't unify the country. All right, and at the end of the day, it will always be a color thing. So if they don't let Hillary, they definitely not gonna let her ass. And quote unquote, that's what he said. So he said if the women didn't vote Hillary in, they definitely not gonna vote her in. What you think about that, Tasha?
Well, I don't think that women aren't going to vote her in because she's a woman. And I think it's not fair to compare Hillary and Kamala at all. I don't think that they're even similar candidates. They're just both have a D after their name. I mean, if she's not voted for, it's going to be because of her policies, her extremism, her desire to neutralize biological women. Like, it's interesting that they're making such a big deal of her about being a woman, but she represents the party that doesn't want to define what a woman is or alter it. So there's a lot of dormant, I mean, as loud as and I'm not minimizing it again, this is not me speaking against transgenders or any of that, but what I'm saying that is that there's a lot of, matter of fact, actually, you know what, personal experience. Let me do this, you guys. I'm gonna do you one better. Do you know that in a recent, not a recent, but a far past situation last year, I was going to be dating a person and, you know, he would, there's this whole disclaimer about no disrespect and I'm so sorry and da-da-da-da-da, but he literally goes, and I just have to ask, not because you're not beautiful, not because you're not this. And I'm like, what do you want to ask me? He goes, but are you a biological woman? Now, how do you think that makes me feel as a woman who was cut open 3 times to give birth to 3 children, that has gone through the different things, has bleeds every single month? You know, how do you think that makes me feel that I have to now defend my gender? So there are women, right, who feel that are upset about that. So I really think that if anything, it's not going to be because she's a woman. It's not going to be because she's black, but it's because of some of the extremism that's impacting people that maybe they're not loud about it. Maybe they don't get a lot of airtime. Maybe there's not a lot of funds to push it. But the majority of people, you know, have a certain feeling about all these different things happening. And while I'm not against, you know, if you want to identify and do, that's on you. But I don't like the fact that I now have to defend. It's one thing to have to defend myself against having a BBL to make things funny, because I was built with this and born with it. But now I got to explain that I'm real too, you know? So not only got to tell you this is natural, really it is, and show you pictures of me with the booty when I was in 9th grade. Now I got to explain, yes, I really am a woman, and here's my C-section scar. So you have that group of women. There's a lot of women, biological women, who feel violated by her extreme policies and her support. That's what I really think is going to hurt her. Not because she's actually a woman or not because she's black. It's going to be her extreme policies that impact the values of just everyday people, and whether you're Republican or not. Because we've been able to push a lot of things in Washington State through the initiative process. And guess what? We're a majority Democratic state. We don't even have a super majority in the House, in our House and Senate. We have no power since the 80s, but we pushed things like repeal state taxes, restore police pursuit, you know, not repeal, not have income tax, and these other things, gas bans. And guess who voted it? Democrats. So they're starting to figure out, like, there's certain things that just across the board impact everybody regardless of what side you're on. And I think that's what's going to hurt her, is her extreme policies, not her gender and not even her race.
All right, man. Hey, John, welcome to the platform. John said, well said, Tasha. We're going to transition to the latter part of the conversation tonight. D, I got one coming your way. This is special for you. I'm going to let you break this down, and you and Tasha go head to head. So if you can do me a favor, sir, for TMAX Network, and take over the controls, I'm going to play the video. You can, if you can, are you able to control it from where you are right now?
I don't see the video.
All right, I don't have the video uploaded in there. I'm just gonna play the video, and then when you guys go back to doing your dialogue, because I'm gonna drop down for a second, you can control it from there and pull up and share your screen from YouTube on the same video. So here we go, Tasha. I hope you like this one because they tried to run the flim flam on your boy. All right, so D, go ahead on and we're gonna play this video, and then you guys can break down and do a reaction on your own. All right, here we go.
Access that feed on social media using the hashtag NABJFactCheck. Again, the hashtag is NABJFactCheck. We have a lot to get to, and we do not want to waste any time. So let's bring out the former president of the United States, the Republican nominee for president, former President Donald Trump. Thank you. Mr. President, we so appreciate you giving us an hour of your time. I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe Black district attorneys. You've attacked Black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking Black supporters to vote for you, why should Black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the Black population of this country. I've done so much for the Black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for Black workers and Black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and and I say this, historically Black colleges and universities were out of money. They were stone cold broke. And I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. Well, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late, just so we understand. I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something was
President,
wrong.
I would love
I think
if you
it's
can
a
answer
very
the question
nasty
on your rhetoric
question.
and why you
I have
believe that
answered
Black
the
voters
question.
should trust you with another
I
4
have
years.
been the best president for the Black population since Abraham Lincoln.
So listen, let's go ahead on and put it out there. D, take over from here. We're gonna talk about that, and then when I come back, Tasha, you're gonna break down these last few pictures that we want to honor the fact that you sent them in to us and put those up. Tell us where we can find you from once you and D start talking about the National Black Journalists Association Conference or whatever it was. All right, take it away.
The fact that they had that clown ass music, I was already disconnected. This is why I hate politics and politicians.
I'm sorry. Okay, I just want to share why I'm laughing because, one, I don't really. Okay, so one thing that I think at least I can agree on, I'll say I can agree on, I'm not going to say everyone can agree on, is that, I really will always appreciate, like, He's very kind of the same way I appreciate your crude candor. I really appreciate his, you know, and I think there were some valid points in there. And you know, I'm not a type of person that goes, oh, well, they did this and they did that. I mean, it's kind of like, I'm pretty sure if, you know, Joe Biden was invited on the show, they wouldn't have started off with, okay, so, you know, thank you for coming here today. So, you know, since in 1977, you said you didn't want your kids to be able to integrate with black kids because you said it would be a jungle. And then also, you know, like, and start listing, oh, and then by the way, 4 years ago, you told us we weren't even going to be black unless we voted for you. And then all, you know, these different things. I just want to know how you expect to get our vote. Like, I mean, that wasn't, I agree with what he is saying. I mean, as far as that whole thing is concerned, like, it's like, okay, you've already set up, you basically want him to, you said what you said and then tried to add it, form it as a question, which was poorly done. And everything he's saying is absolutely correct. You know, I mean, but at the same time, okay, again, I don't care, because if he didn't put anything into policy that directly impacts me as a black person because he said these things. I mean, think about all the things that we as black people, I'm sorry, I'm going to put us on blast. We've said, I don't care if you feel like systemically you have a right to. You didn't go through nothing. My grandmother is 97 years old and she doesn't talk mess about black people. I'm just saying, okay? And she actually went through stuff. Not just, oh, my feelings are hurt because you don't respect me as I'm black. No, she actually went through stuff, major stuff. So anyway, I'm just like, if all his little phrases he said didn't turn into laws and like the Jim Crow laws weren't put back in place, or something happened that actually impacted my life as a black person in Washington State, I don't care. I just don't care. What are you doing that's impacting my life? And I'm just going to keep going back to that. I don't really care if you like me. Like you said, you're okay with people being racist as long as their actions don't actually lead to something that derogatorily impacts my life, changes everything, whatever the case may be. I don't care. So all of those things that she said don't matter to me. And if you guys want to go off of voting, off of feelings over facts, you want to vote off of who says what's warm fuzzy, like you were saying earlier, whoever coddles to your feelings in the moment, like none of that's going to change the day-to-day things that are happening in your life. None of that's going to make your living affordable. None of that's going to make you make more money. None of them, if Donald Trump turned around and came out with a black afro and was like, everything about him was, that's not changing anything. But like, it's not. So the fact that someone's saying warm, fuzzy, coddly words to you, which Malcolm X cautions us against, was actually impacting if you would vote for him or not, or even for Kamala. You know, she said a bunch of ignorant things, but her policies to me have been far more detrimental. I'm not voting for her because she can't say a sentence with a noun verb agreement, that she can't stop unburdening what has been. That is not why I'm not voting for her. I'm not voting for her because she's black. I'm not voting for her because she's a woman. I'm not voting for her for those service reasons. I'm going based on policy, not personality, and facts, not feelings. And that's what I encourage people to do. Like, I just don't care about all that stuff she said. I don't care. None of that changed my life in Washington. None of that made my life easier. So I don't care. Sorry.
I'm not voting for her because she's not 6'8" and can't dunk a basketball.
And you know what? That is your right.
I'm not
and
voting.
You know, that's actually a more informed decision than many people that are voting for her.
I'm not voting for Donald Trump because he can't run the 4.240 and catch a 80-yard bomb.
What'd you say?
I'm not voting for Donald Trump because he can't run the 4.240 and catch an 80-yard pass.
I mean, and you know what's funny? People are not voting for people for far dumber things. Like, I literally have seen posts where they're like, "Ooh, it's time to get my checks and pearls out."
I'm telling you,
someone to be president? Are you serious right now?
For me, right now,
that qualifies a person to be.
After
like,
reading and seeing, observing, listening through my childhood and adulthood, politically, nothing has progressed. It's been a rat wheel, or rats really get shit done. It's been a hamster fuck wheel. It's just been the same old
lip service
from both sides of the aisle. Listen,
absolutely.
We're not going to hear anything new. This 4 years, 4 years later, the 4 years after that. So I was going to come down to cutting taxes and getting new jobs and being the new way leader and shit like that. They ain't gonna do shit. So here's where it's at. The American people, I charge you and I urge you to hear me from up under my voice. Get active. Like, I need you to put a cage around the White House and say, listen, whoever come out of here with their fist the cleanest, you ain't it. We gonna need some action from somebody, because first thing first, the people who should have been leading the country didn't get the chance, because you know why? The business agreement didn't align with it. The money that was going to be made wasn't going to align with it. See, we profit very well off crime and sickness. That's our specialty. The golden rule still stands to this day. You know, you could be worth $1 million when somebody owes you $1 million, but you ain't ever get that $1 million. But somehow you're valuable. You ever had a great relationship with a woman that you never seen? Yeah, me either. So I just want to put this out here. It's time for us to grow up. It literally is. And particularly when we have Tasha Maes, people that we can get in contact with, that we can touch, that we can speak to, that understands, listen, although you aspire to do bigger things on a bigger platform, and we want you to do that. However, if I was up under Tasha, I put a contract on her ass. I'm like, look, I'm gonna need a new street right here by February 2025. Just pave smoothly. We don't need no LED lights. We don't need no colors. We just need a smooth paved street, not no just fill in little holes in section. We want this shit to be redone. Because why? In the neighborhood, the kids like to ride their bikes. Cars like to go in and out smoothly. And in case of emergency, that EMTs and law enforcement can come in and not have to worry about the same situation that got everybody into something. The basics. That's what I'm charging the American people to understand. Because all this other shit about this country does this country does that. Yeah, we know. We saw the peace treaties. We saw the Spanish Inquisition. We saw at least you should have. If you didn't, it's never too late to go ahead and stay up one night and binge read. Not binge watch, binge read. You're really familiar with a lot of stuff that's going on in your area, in your life. Get familiar with what you need, because that's the problem. You don't have a plan. Proper planning prevents poor performance. If it's not proper, at least planning prevents poor performance. And if it's not planning and it's proper, shit, just prevent poor performance.
How about we just prevent? No, I'm just kidding. Okay. So, you know, and I want to go back to something that you said that I just echo, and we're saying this as even though you're anti-politics, Mr. Neutral Switzerland. But what I think that we both agree on.
I want violence.
I know, you know, I know. But what we can agree on is first of all, we need to stop talking about the national election. Like period. Because especially in my state and many others, it really, outside of the hoopla, it doesn't impact your state. The stuff you're mad about, the stuff you don't like, the roads he's talking about, what happening in your schools, what you like, that stuff has nothing to do with the President of the United States of America. But you're caught up. You need to stop. You don't even know. You see all these, you know what, in my district, I'm actually embarrassed, although I'm not ready to run for office, so I'm not embarrassed. I take that back. But I was looking at my ballot to look and see who's been running unopposed, and they have been unopposed just by default winning for years, every 2 years, 2 years, 2 years. But we're mad about I don't like how my city does this and my city does that. Have you even, I'm sitting here like, this person is so extreme and there is nobody opposing them. They're going to win by default. Literally. That's happening everywhere. And as say, I'm an aspiring House rep, right? I want to be a part of lawmaking. I want to be a part of law revising, because that's what impacts us as people. That's what's going to do the welfare reform in my state. That's what's going to change different things in my state. I understand that. But people, like, until they're caught up in the law, they don't even recognize that. And by then they haven't paid attention because they're so caught up in the orange guy or the brown woman. So you guys don't take anything away from today. Please. I'm telling, like in Washington, our primaries for you to vote is into August 6th. And everyone's just waiting for November. These people, like, those people in November have nothing to do with what's going to happen in your state. Nothing. Zero. That's why I also had a clean conscience when I did my historical black vote for President Obama. Because ultimately, he has nothing to do with my state. So I felt comfortable with that because we have the Washington Administrative Code and we don't go by the Constitution here anyway, so it doesn't matter. You know, and that's embarrassing, but it is what it is. It's the state I live in. So it's like, what are you doing? So I urge you guys, our call to action, I can say probably unanimously, is you need to get involved locally. If you don't like what's happening, get involved. I knew that from 9 years old, that I didn't like the damn chicken nuggets at my school. So I decided I was gonna run for class president in 6th grade. Because that's where the decisions come. Those are the people that get to speak to the decision makers or the vendors in our school. Like, that's what you need to do. Sitting here debating, getting mad at people, talking about Agent Orange or she's not black or she's not Indian. That's why, you know, I'm on the fence about doing this whole I'm not with her video. Because I'm just like, I don't even know her to be with her or not. And I don't care. Honestly, yeah, I'm going to vote in November, but I don't care because she has nothing to do with what happens in my day-to-day life in Washington State. And I wish you guys would just figure that out in your respective states. And there you go.
You know, oddly enough, I think about the kids. We talk about being ahead of the curve and being this great economical power. But reality is we really are out here screaming, fuck those kids. We don't do anything to better them. This is why every time when a generation comes forth, like, yo, you're learning what? You're learning something I learned when I was in high school at that age. Wow, amazing. No, the hell it's not. That was a great business plan. We're going to hold this same information and we're going to just kick it down to your 3rd grade child. So now, when your child becomes 17, 18, you're going to realize they really didn't learn anything different from what you did. We got mega companies. We got Apple. We got Google. We got Microsoft. We got all these mega companies. Why don't these schools have access to working computers? Not this bullshit block screen at these schools. Actual stuff that gives them skill sets. Why did we take programs out and let them become programs outside away from the school that now people apply for financial aid to now have those same skill sets they were getting?
Because they want to teach them if they're a boy or a girl or not instead.
Yeah, because mental health.
Sorry, I'm just like, because they're so
mental health is big
concerned
business.
about indoctrination than they are about education. That's why.
Mental health is big business. It is. And honestly, if I played the game truthfully, I'd be out here cashing in on a lot of you motherfuckers too.
Oh, D. But it's real talk, and I respect it. And, you know, at the end of the day, like I said, I think back to 2020 and when there was all of the protests and the people in the streets and all this unrest all around the world. If we would have used that power, not to just stand in the streets, but to like actually bring forth candidates and give the money to getting people in the positions that actually, because of how government's structured here, we just have to do it until someone decides to overthrow how we run the country. Like that could have been a shift. But guess what they did to get people to clear the streets? They played the game, like you said. They gave us their little temporary band-aids, and then we all cleared back, and we actually thought something was different, and it's not. It doesn't matter who's in charge. And so it's just, when are we going to stop? When are we going to stop believing that the dangling carrot we're actually going to catch? Like, when are you going to realize you're attached to a buggy? Seriously, when are you going to realize you could actually plant your own carrots? I don't understand. I mean, I get it. And this is where I'm going to give an homage to my parents, homage to my grandfather. Thank you for teaching me to be an independent thinker. Thank you for breaking generational curses of mental laziness. Thank you so much for teaching me to read, to write, to value education, to value my own thoughts and ideas. Thank you for teaching me to be an advocate. Thank you. Like, I'm so grateful because there's so many of us that are just literally like the blind leading the blind, and everything you're saying, they're going, what do you mean? I mean, I saw it on 106 in Park. It has to be true. Like, I mean, it's just, and it breaks my heart because I don't want that for my people. I don't want that for any American, honestly, but I don't want that for people, you know? So all I can hope is opportunities like this are going to open people's eyes, at least somebody's eyes, and that's all we can do.
Yeah, I'm tired of hoping. I just literally.
I'm not.
I'm tired of
God
hoping.
didn't give up on me, brother.
Fuck hope. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was literally in the live on TikTok and talking to this guy. We were having an exchange, and this girl was just like, she kept interjecting herself in me, and we were having a good exchange. I don't know why she kept interjecting herself. Maybe she thought she was better than me, whatever the case may be. But, you know, when people see that I don't give a damn about them being upset, it makes them more upset. So I did just that. And one of her dumbass remarks was, haven't you seen the policies? I'm like, well, have you seen the policies? I don't need to see the policies. I've been living for 4 years. It took everything in me to be, D, don't do it. Just don't do it, D. Like, you and TikTok just kind of got all right. But it was right there at the edge of my tongue. Like, bitch, really? That's your response? You've been living for 4 years. That's the policy? Really? This is sad because out of 330 million Americans, there's a strong some odd 10, 20 million that have that same ideology as her. No profound information whatsoever. They're not going to do that. Oh, TMAX, why would I learn the proper way to drive a vehicle when I could just, you push one of them foot things down there, the pedal? That's not what it is. Pedals are on leaves. Okay, I hear you. At some point in time, fuck hope. Leave them to their own devices.
Yeah, well, just, I'll quickly say, D, of course I'm not going to cast my pearls before swine, just like, I'm not going to do that. It's like, if you don't want, I'm going to lead you to water. If you don't want to drink, I'm not going to sit there and force it. I don't force my opinions on anybody, actually. I think it actually frustrates people that I won't directly align with somebody or directly condemn another person or correct, because I'm not going to do that. I make decisions for myself. I want you to do the same. But I'm definitely not going to do that. When I say hope, I believe that there are more people like D and Tasha out there. There really are. Now I know there are, and I know there's people that maybe are aspiring and they don't know what they don't know. Like the person who asked the question earlier about something, and then I was able to answer it. Now you have people that are going to go, okay, maybe they don't agree, but at least it's information. And now they're going to go do their own research, or they're going to be ignorant. I don't know if that was the call that I dropped off of, because I definitely wasn't going to be able to successfully engage in that ignorance. But I'm just saying that, like, okay, some people are that way. And the Bible, I'm going to quote it because that's what I believe in, calls us not to argue with fools. Because it's like, what's the point? And I'm not going to do that. Like, if that's what you believe, that's what you want to say. If you want to believe that 4 years is a policy, if 1 + 1 to you is 35, okay. And I'm just not going to engage because there's 330 million other people that might actually believe that 1 + 1 is 2. And I have hope for those people.
Now 1 + 1 is 63. Y'all better remember that.
Perfect.
No, it comes to this. In this country, you got so many people. I want this. I want this. I want this. All right. When you take them to the very thing that they just proudly said that they wanted, they got it. Now it's no, this is not what it is. No. We have so many identity issues around here. It don't make no sense. This is why the voting is so skewed the way it is now. This is why our politics is so skewed the way it is now. Look how many people switch aisles every year. Yeah, we ain't gonna have that discussion. So hey, TMAX Network, we appreciate y'all for being here. Like, comment, subscribe by all means. If you're looking for somebody to lie to you, well, you can go to the next channel because this ain't it.
Hey, D man, good commentary going into the last segment. Tasha, explain to us like what are we looking at here? For some of these photos, we showed the one of your father. You gave us this one as well. Can you kind of let us know what we're looking at here?
Yeah, that's Hussein Karam from Washington State, but he is a direct fundraiser for the Trump campaign in Washington State, as well as the finance chair of our most populated county in Washington State. And so we were fellow delegates to the RNC several weeks back. And yeah, so proud to know him. He's a good guy, and I appreciate the hard work that he's doing. And then that is Sarah Huckabee Sanders, governor, and she's amazing. I got to meet her when I was at the RNC. You know, as you guys know, obviously, her father was Mike Huckabee, or he still is Mike Huckabee. So I got to meet him when he was in Washington State about 8 years ago. So it was neat to be able to meet her in person and just hear. I wish she was the governor in Washington State. That's all I got to say about that. And then that's Byron Donalds. He is awesome. At first, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little like side-eyed about him. To keep it 100 with you guys, I'm okay. He's the new token black guy with Trump, and okay, let me look at his wife. Okay, his wife's not black. Like, I'm gonna be real. I those things went through my mind, like everyone else. Okay, you don't have a black wife, and now you're the guy standing next to Trump. But I did have an opportunity to actually talk with him, and honestly, like even when he speaks, he's a real dude. Like I'm gonna tell you, like he's a real dude. He's a real brother, and I respect that. And I asked him a couple of challenging questions. We had a great dialogue, and it was an honor to meet him. And he encouraged me to bring my sons down there to meet him as well, because I said, you know, cool for my kids to see, my young men to see someone like you who is trying to make a difference and running for office and all that.
All right, before I go to the next picture, this dude here is crazy as hell.
D, I don't want my
going
kids
on?
to meet you if that's what you're laughing about. Why are you laughing? Because it's not even about party, it's about what he's doing, right?
No. It's not even.
Oh, sorry. I don't laugh at you. I go on mute when I do it.
No, I was on mute. I was like, because like, he's the token black guy. Is this the token black guy? I gotta know. You got a black guy.
I think I say out loud, just like you guys. I'm gonna keep it real. Like, don't think like I said, I'm not some weird bobblehead on the Republican side that actually believes. No, I was like, let me see.
I got you, but it's still.
I said, let me see who this dude is, if he's really a brother or not. I want to know.
It is still hilarious when you hear, like, if I saw my bro walking, I'm like, is he a token? They got a black woman.
That's exactly what I asked him, and I
like,
thought that was.
But this is my whole thing. Like, I'm just so. Like when you in the nature of a particular business, you gotta be in that particular business, right? Like for people who ain't gonna understand this, I'm gonna give you just a simple sports analogy. If I play football, I can't concern myself with the NBA. And if I'm in the NBA, I can't concern myself with the business of the Major League Baseball. And if I'm a basketball player, I can't concern myself with what the hell the soccer league got going on. It just, that's what I'm saying. So when I'm here, politics, I'm like, it has to be about the politics and politics alone. But now, brother, you bet not have. Boy, Dr. Umar was here right now. He would have been so in love with you. He probably would have picked up the phone, put your mom on the phone. Boy, yeah, I'm never coming home again. I found me a Tasha Mae. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Tasha, here we go. What we got here?
That's just my first day at the RNC, and I had to bring it, represent Washington strong, give a little fashion, and definitely caused a lot of heads to turn and people to stop and ask questions and stuff like that. So it was really good conversation piece. But that was day one.
All right.
So that's my father. So this is early 2000s, and I share this picture with you guys just to speak to my background, and some people think it's just, oh, it's just because it's cute and you just want to do it now. No, this is what I grew up seeing. This is my father in Washington, D.C. This is actually back when he was trying to fight for marriage between a man and a woman. I'm going to keep it real. I know that would not be popular today, but that's what he was trying to do back then. And so that's him speaking to several politicians and dignitaries, and more so from a spiritual perspective, because he's not a politician at all. He did not want to run for office. That was my mother. But he was a spiritual advisor to many, but he also was able to just share his heart in those particular topics. And so that's him in Washington, D.C. in the early 2000s. Now that is him with Dino Rossi and his wife. Now this was one of the biggest controversial gubernatorial races, the closest we ever came since the 1980s, actually having a Republican governor in Washington state. And they did multiple recounts. It was ridiculous, where they made up all of these to not let him win. So he should have won, and he didn't. It was really sad. It really broke the spirit of Republicans in Washington state, because we almost thought we had something after however many, 1980 to 2000, I think 7, I believe. Don't quote me, you guys, if I'm wrong. Those you guys, John, you guys who are in the comments, can you give me the right dates? But yeah, so that was a big deal. He was a spiritual advisor. He did a lot of fundraising and encouragement and things of that nature. But yeah, that was really epic, because we came so close to having a Republican governor. I believe they did 3 recounts, maybe 2, during that time. And they just would not let it happen in Washington state. We are bluer than blue. And then that's, of course, me and my daddy, just to illustrate the closeness and the positive relationship that I have with him. Again, just speaking to where my foundation comes from, where my upbringing and my belief system comes from. And again, it's not a fad for me. It's not a coattail writing. It really is a thing. It really is foundational. And I'm passionate about it. Oh, okay. And that is our chairman of the Washington State GOP. So that was cool to be on the floor with him at the RNC as well. I'm a lot different apple, more than just my skin color, than the Washington GOP has dealt with, but they are getting used to me. And so it was really good to see him and represent Washington State.
And Tasha, you was out there representing for the color yellow. You stood out and wore that thing, and then you shook hands with all of the movers and the shakers that was at the RNC. I saw on your social media where you was just like, you were really intrigued by what they had to say and what they thought and what they were standing behind this election, man. So we appreciate you so much for coming over here once again on TMAX Network. This is the second home for you. If you want to pop up at any time, join D on the Missing Conversation at 7:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday evenings, or you can tap in with us on the Winner Circle. This is our first episode at 9:45 p.m. And now we're going to go over on either Tuesdays or Thursdays, and we're going to be talking about things of the community other than politics that really makes the community pop. We're going to be talking about financials. We're going to be talking about not consuming yourself so much in debt, putting yourself in a position to where you're not relying on the system to get you out of it, or just because they got you in it don't mean that they're going to get you out of it. So you're going to have to put your hands to the plow and do some work yourself. So that's what we're going to be talking about on the Winner Circle, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mr. TKO. This is the Winner Circle over here also with my homeboy, Mr. D. Awesome one. What up? What up? What up? And our special guest for this evening was Miss Tasha Mae from Seattle, Washington. Hey, guys, I appreciate y'all so much, man. We'll hit these last couple comments, then we'll get out of here. Andrea Rico said, D, you are too much. Stop it. All right. Up and calm. Tasha has a godly man standard. Beautiful. He is awesome. Hey, listen, they done commented both of y'all and complimented both of y'all so much. So I'm gonna take this comment as for me. They said I am awesome, and I appreciate that. Okay, even though if y'all won't talk about me, I'm gonna claim it myself. 2004, Rossi lost by 129 votes.
And just to give you a frame of reference, you guys, there's over 700,000 voters in Washington State. Okay. And that was, I think, on the second or third recount. That was how badly, I don't know where they made up those votes from, but it was crazy. He was the closest to come. than in any other Republican gubernatorial candidate in the history of Washington State since the 80s. So it was bad.
Man, Adriana, hey, listen, I appreciate you. She said, yes, you are. Hey, I appreciate you, sis. That made me feel good. You were talking about me in that statement. Okay, cool beans. All right, Tasha, any lasting words, anything you want to say as we go ahead on the end of the stream and let you get back to what you have to do late this evening?
Yes. Again, you guys, I'm just going to reiterate, please, please, please find out what's happening locally. That is really the message I think we want to send here is all this other stuff is great, but what Kamala does, what Donald Trump does really actually does not impact your day-to-day life. So I don't want you to miss what's happening locally what's happening locally in your cities, in your counties, in your states. I want you to get involved. Find out what's happening. Find out what you don't like, what you do like, and then vote accordingly. Find the people that support what you want and stay away from the people that don't do what you want, right? So start there, get involved locally. Also, it's okay to have differing opinions. You don't need to stomp on people to stand up for what you believe in. You can still state your claim with confidence, but you don't have to necessarily shove other people down. I'm okay with people as long as they're engaged, they're registered voters, they're doing their inalienable right in voting. Fine, do your thing, but just at least be involved. Have a say-so in your own life. So that's all I'm going to say. Thank you guys so much for having me. This was 3 hours, but it was an amazing 3 hours because it's informing, it's educational, it was balanced. It was all different types of perspectives, all different types of things. And I really, really welcome that. And I sure hope that we can be an example of what this type of dialogue should look like. No one's hurting. No one's angry. I can't wait to see what Dee says in the green room. Like, I like these guys, even no matter what our things are. And that's what I hope we can be, a shining example of what that looks like. Thank you guys for having me today.
Oh, man, you're amazing, Tasha. We appreciate you popping in. D, any lasting words for the people?
Yes, Tasha's wrong. I am mad as hell and hurting. No. No, man, look. It is more so to drive the focus and understand, man. Just because you don't know something don't mean you can't learn anything. You're not supposed to always be informed about any and every damn thing. You have your own life to think about. These people who are politicians are people. All they're doing is they're thinking about their own life and their own families, but they're giving you the facade as if you matter to them and you do not. So treat business with business. You know what I mean? It's not going to hurt you to have a business plan for you and your family. That's how success come about. There's a plan, and plans don't wait on other people's plans to make anything happen for them. So have your definitive plan for you and yours. Map it out. If you map it out 100 years, please, by all means, map it out 100 years. But I would say this, get more involved. Go to your city hall, your town hall, whatever, Congress, senator, whatever meeting there is, and find out what they are talking about. Find out what funds are available. Find out what grants need to be handed out. Make those connections. Hell, at this point, you need to be a low-level politician where you're just not going up there asking for votes. You're just going up there and politicking and getting exactly what you need for you and yours. Outside of that, man, let these people be who they're going to be and leave them to their own devices. But like, comment, and subscribe. TMAX Network, we appreciate y'all. We really, really do. We appreciate all the activity, and we appreciate the comments. It's been respectful. Please follow Tasha, the real Tasha Mae, on all social media platforms. She is great. As y'all saw her wear that canary yellow, to let you know them politician fashion vibes kicked in. So that's enough for some people to vote because she wears their favorite color. I'm just telling you, people don't do it.
All right, man. Hey, listen, it has been a pleasure. Like Dee stated, appreciate everybody who commented, who came over and checked us out. We're gonna bring y'all, man. Listen, drop some in the comments to this video or on our YouTube channel. Period. Drop us some suggestions of what you want to see Dee and I cover over here. Tasha, man, if you can pop over here at any time and help out drive the channel with conversations, or if you got some topics that you want to talk about, you're more than welcome. This platform is an open platform. Like you said, we made a lot of jokes and kept it light today. I just don't want people to think that some of the things that people say is exactly what they mean or how they mean it to land on your heart. So take it with a grain of salt, but find the truth in everything. I would say, listen, let me put me on the big screen real quick. I would say find the truth in everything, and the best way to do that is search for the facts. Do your own due diligence. Don't just do talking points. Coming from a community like mine that I came from, majority of the people just it's like that whispering fact that when they whisper in your ear and tell you something, and by the time to get down to the 99th person, that is not the original statement that was mentioned because nobody took the time to slow down and listen or fact check. They just started talking from a point that they heard in one ear and it went out the other. So do your due diligence by looking up things. Don't let Project 2025 scare you coming from your cousin Ray Ray and them. Go and look it up and say, hey, listen, do I really know about this so-called Project 2025? How about Agenda 47? That's right there on Donald Trump's website. Look up Kamala Harris's policies and what she's going to be pushing, which is an extension of Joe Biden himself. We all know it's not going to be a different story. No matter who you voting for, I will be the first person to tell you I don't care who you voting for, just vote. So let your voice be heard. All right, ladies and gentlemen, look, man, D, I appreciate you, bro. Always driving this channel, always behind the driver's seat. And now I'm just popping out on the scene to try to help out as much as possible. Tasha, we appreciate you, man. Bright spirit. Even if you was voting on the other side with Kamala and them because you was a woman and aligned with her views and her points, and you wanted to make history one more again, I would not have too much smoke for you. I would just tell you, don't be complaining about an outcome when it comes out in your favor. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is TMAX Network, man. We appreciate y'all. We love each and every last one of y'all. So like and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time. Peace.